going to be short. Ships are going to be short sailors. The Air Force is going to be short pilots for their planes, and the Army is going to be short soldiers for their combat units, their battalions and their brigades. And so, you have to be ready at a moment's notice, and these units with these shortages are going to be less ready than they were a couple of years ago.
Today is December 7th. In terms of recruitment, military readiness, would you be worried that America, would be ready if there were ever another Pearl Harbor-like attack?
I am. I'm worried right now, and it doesn't have to be a Pearl Harbor attack. It can be any one of a number of different scenarios, and unfortunately, history shows that every 20 years or so, the U.S. military gets itself into some sort of conflict or war, and so that time is coming, and we don't get the luxury of deciding where and when it's going to happen. We have to be ready at all times. And so this decline we're seeing, which really has no forecasted end right now, is very worrisome.
The White House has said the president agrees with the defense secretary that it's important for all Americans to be vaccinated against COVID. There does seem to be some bipartisan pressure building, though, on this mandate issue. Would you be hopeful about this effort to lift the vaccine mandate at this point?
It's a great question. So, I'm looking out my window at the halls of Congress right now, and they are, as we speak, debating that very provision. So it's hard to say how it's going to come out. There are very strong feelings on both sides. I think there's reason. The latest news, as you said at the start, is that we think there is a repeal of the vaccine mandate in the National Defense Authorization Act. Whether that holds till the very end and is signed into law by the president, I think, is anybody's guess at this moment.
Should Americans be concerned, or are you concerned, when either side in Washington holds up this particular authorization bill for any reason, no matter what the issue is?
First off, I would say the Defense Authorization Act has been wildly delayed. Both houses of Congress were essentially done with this bill in June, maybe July at the latest, and for reasons that are inexplicable to me, it has been delayed now, and here we are in December talking about this when this should have been disposed of months ago. I'm one of these people that favors quality over quantity, so I would, if there were some legitimate warfighting concerns that were still being debated about the National Defense Authorization Act, I'd be willing to delay it, but that's not what's happening right now. They're arguing over things that have nothing to do with our national defense, but have been attached to this legislation for reasons of expediency and the hope that it will help them pass when they might not have passed on their own.
At the same time, we have Russia's war in Ukraine continuing, generating a lot of military assistance from the U.S. for Ukraine. The Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman, says the U.S. has enough of a stockpile to keep helping Ukraine with drawdowns of military assistance. Historically, how big is that stockpile?
The stockpile is good. It's adequate. It's probably the biggest stockpile of any country in the world, but it's going to come short in some cases. As famously you've heard that we've used up a third of our Javelin missiles and a quarter of our Stinger missiles, and that was months ago. And so we continue to draw those down, whereas production for these munitions is just now beginning to start. And so we are getting close to the levels where we should be concerned.
Are those things also part of what's authorized in the bill?
Yeah, that's a great question. So and not only are these things authorized in that bill, but there's reforms. There's more money. There's ways to accelerate and make our munitions producers more effective by investing in their capital buildings and their tools. So I think, every day that we don't get this National Defense Authorization Act is another day that our production capabilities don't rise to meet the occasion.
What would you say to any Americans concerned about the overall state of the U.S. military? We hear a lot about, the moves that China's making to beef up its own military and build it bigger and bigger. But you hear our U.S. defense leaders saying, America still has the finest fighting force in the world. What would you say to concerned Americans?
Well, there's two things that are true at the same time. The United States has the best military in the world, bar none. Its leaders and its equipment is excellent. On the other hand, I would say our U.S. military is not adequate to what we have defined in our national strategies. To deter both China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea requires a bigger military than we have right now. More ships. Most of our military experts tell us we need 400 Navy ships, and we have about 290 today. And so while our military is excellent, it isn't big nor modern enough right now.
Retired Army Lieutenant General Tom Spohr, director of the Heritage Foundation's Center for National Defense. Thank you very, very much for your time.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and NewstalkSTL.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-94-BIBLE. That's 844-94-BIBLE. 844-94-BIBLE.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
We tried Dynovite for gut health and immune support, and after a couple of weeks, our little Gizmo was acting like a puppy again. His coat was shinier, he had a lot less scratching and shedding, and he seemed like his happy old self.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Get 10% off your next order of Dynovite nutritional supplements for dogs at Dynovite.com. Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. That's why you get live 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, because every home deserves to be protected. Right now, get 40% off the whole home security system named the best of 2022 by U.S. News & World Report. Visit simplysafe.com/holiday to save big today. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Columbo and Katie.
It's another can't miss show on Wednesday with Rodney Boyd at 2:20, Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire at 2:45, and we open up Close's Cabinet, talk to Mark Close at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
As the old saying goes, winter is coming. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. This is why you need to call Hanson's right now. It's prime time for winter pruning of your trees before winter storms bring them down. Get on Hanson's schedule for winter dormant oil application on your trees to prevent insects from taking shelter there throughout the winter months, and have Hanson set you up for a preventative plant health care program to take care of those most important assets. Give them a call today. They're online 24/7, hansonstree.com, hansonstree.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent.
We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
The YMCA is just a starting line. For the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. My why is diversity in unity, a safe space in my community, living with sincerity, giving every day my everything. With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror, and everyone belongs. Find your why. Learn more at ymca.org for a better us.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation.
Enable our Alexa skill. Hey, Alexa, Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com or on your radio at 1019, 94.1, and 99.1 HD3. News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion. Welcome home.
Laughing all the way?
You always did know how to make me laugh.
Or will love be sidelined once again?
Thought you were leaving.
Actually, there's been a slight change of plans.
Christmas at the Greenbrier, streaming now exclusively on Fox Nation. Sign up now and get 50% off all yearly plans.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, December 7th. This is the Fox News Rundown. Georgia Republican Herschel Walker says running for the U.S. Senate was the best thing he's ever done in his life. He lost to Democrat Raphael Warnock, who last night secured the remaining open Senate seat in a runoff, giving Democrats a 51-49 vote lead in the Senate. Duke Energy says power is expected to be restored to thousands of customers today, left in the dark after a weekend attack on 2 substations. And Moscow Police Chief James Fry will be back in the home where 4 University of Idaho students were murdered nearly a month ago. He says they are confident they will catch the killer. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and NewstalkSTL.com. St. Louis's place to talk.
The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Open enrollment for anyone covered by Affordable Care Act is now open through January 15th.
So now is the time to act.
Hi, this is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. And regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively.
Call Mike Butts and his expert team at 314-544-5400.
Or visit mbhealth.com.
The Range St. Louis West is Missouri's best indoor shooting range. With 20 climate-controlled lanes, over 70 firearms available to rent, and the best staff in the business, you're guaranteed to enjoy every minute of your time with us. Our impressive showroom is full of the latest and greatest offerings from the best manufacturers in the business. Need an optic, spare magazines, holster, or any other accessory? Let our professional staff help you find exactly what you need and get it installed for you. Mention you heard us on News Talk STL and save $100 on your membership and enjoy even more goodies. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
Hey, Tony Colombo here for my good friends at Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood, one of my all-time favorite local businesses. Great Harvest Maplewood is the best, especially this time of year. It is impossible to make a bad decision at Great Harvest, whether it's muffins, cookies, snickerdoodles, or, of course, the bread, especially the pumpkin bread. Great Harvest in Maplewood is in a league of their own. They're located at 7360 Manchester Road and online at greatharvestmaplewood.com.
What if the music stopped? If the familiar voices were silenced? If there were no breaking news updates? What if your companion and connection to your community came with a monthly fee? Don't worry, we're free local radio with you wherever you go, celebrating 100 years and looking forward to the next 100. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dial off for you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, no question there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. On this Wednesday, it is party time at the White House this week as the Christmas season has kicked in. I attended a bunch of those soirees in the past, and they were highlights. The building itself, the White House, is magnificent, of course. Each room has a historical theme. Portraits of past presidents adorn the walls, and you stroll around imagining what took place. Food, top-notch, served buffet style. The challenge for all the men, do not get any sauce on your shirt. The White House kitchen is opened round the clock. Marine Guards in their regalia all over the place. Christmas decorations, meticulous. The presidents themselves appear to take pictures. Each guest has about 2 minutes with them. I brought my urchins a few times. Amazing experience. Presidents Bush, Obama, and Trump were all very gracious. I always got an quip, you know me, which they quickly returned. Michelle Obama was especially nice to my daughter. Despite a divided America, we remain at heart a good country, striving to get better, I hope. It is the Christmas season. We should be kinder to each other the next month or so. And those White House parties are a good symbol of that. I will never forget my good fortune at attending those parties. Back after this. Many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
Another foggy start this morning. Mostly outside of the metro areas is where you're going to find the dense stuff, and there's also a dense fog advisory outside of the metro areas. Temperatures will be in the low 40s this morning with a high today, a little warmer, 51 degrees under mainly cloudy skies and a mainly dry day. But the rain chance returns tomorrow. In fact, late tonight through the first part of tomorrow with temperatures in the 40s. It will be a wet day. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewstalkSTL.
You know, we all want to see business grow. We want to see jobs come to anywhere in St. Louis County or St. Charles County or anywhere on the Illinois side. That's a win for a lot of people. But what if somebody else loses in order for your neighborhood to get that win? It's kind of what happens with a lot of the tax increment financing and all that sort of thing. And a little bit later on today, we're going to ask some tough questions about one of those in St. Louis County. Matter of fact, you don't often see, for instance, the Show Me Institute, free market think tank, and the NAACP on the same side of an issue. But we're going to talk to John Bowman from the St. Louis County NAACP at just after 8 o'clock here because they've got some problems with a tax increment financing proposal that they say is hurting other parts of the county. Really, really interesting and important stuff. We'll get to that later on today. I'm Mike Ferguson. Hey, thanks for making News Talk STL part of your morning. Speaking of organizations you don't normally hear from on News Talk STL, we had a representative of the ACLU on with me yesterday, and they were talking about a case where police were just doing some surveillance without a warrant, which you can do unless you just train a camera on somebody's property. Should that be okay, or is that overstepping their bounds? A lot of interesting questions there. Here's how that conversation went. How about this? In Massachusetts, a police department was wanting to keep track of somebody they suspected of being involved in some criminal activity. So instead of doing a stakeout, they just put a camera out on the street pole. Yeah, and just surveilled electronically. Is that something that violates the Fourth Amendment? It's a lot more simple than just yes or no. I am joined now by Nathan Wessler. He is the Deputy Director for the ACLU's Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project. And Nathan, appreciate you being on the program. I want to start with just the basics of what is going on. They planted a camera, which these things are real inexpensive anymore. They all can go right to the cloud, right through your phone signals, and you can watch them from anywhere. So what actually happened to cause this big picture question?
Yeah, so the case we're involved in is out of Massachusetts. It's a criminal appeal now. A few years ago, police were investigating someone who they thought might be involved in drug sales out of a home, actually out of not even her own home. She was living with her mother, so the adult daughter. And they wanted to be able to keep an eye on who was coming and going from the house. Now, you and many of your listeners, I'm sure, are familiar with, old cop procedurals and police movies, right, where you have some grizzly old cop in an unmarked car sitting with the donuts and the coffee on a stakeout, right, trying to watch something, see who's coming and going from a home. That's an old police technique. But the reality of that is that it's really a short-term technique, right? Not too long until the cop car gets noticed, right? Like, you can't hide your face behind a newspaper for too many hours before somebody gets pretty suspicious. Cops have to go to the bathroom. They have to change shifts. So it's not really a sustainable way to watch someone for a long time. Only in relatively rare investigations could police do that. And it could only happen for, a few hours, maybe a few days in a really important investigation. Well, here police wanted to watch the comings and goings from this home for a long time. And they knew that a cop car on this residential street in Springfield, Massachusetts would stick out. So what they did is they, in an unobtrusive way, climbed the utility pole near the house across the street, installed a very small camera, a digital camera that recorded and transmitted to the police station on that pole. And then they let it run for an uninterrupted 8-month period. This is a camera that could be controlled remotely, so it could pan and zoom up and down, side to side, zoom in to read a license plate or see, what someone was carrying in their hand. And all 8 months of that footage digitally recorded and then could be searched back very easily by police. So they used this technology, which was totally undetectable to the homeowner. Often these cameras are disguised inside boxes that look like an electrical transformer or a junction box, and there's a little hole in them that nobody could see from street level. So no idea that the house is being surveilled. And through this, the police recorded every coming and going to that house over 8 months. Every time the homeowner had a guest, could tell who the guest was, what people were carrying when they came to visit, what the residents of the house were carrying when they left and when they came, what time they left and came. You can infer a tremendous amount about somebody's life and the private details of their lives by recording everything that happens in their driveway and their lawn and at their front door. And that's what police did here. And crucially, they did it without going to a judge first and without getting a search warrant. They just did it on their own say-so without any judicial oversight. And that's what we're really objecting to in this case.
We are visiting with Nate Wessler from the ACLU. Okay, well, in the many years I've been, covering news stories and then later on doing shows like this, I've always been told that, well, if you can see it from a public place, it's fair game. You don't have any expectation of privacy. It's when they're trying to go into something private details inside your home or get into your email or something. So somebody's going to argue, okay, but they could set the cop there and try to do the shift changes and all that. Well, just because it's electronic and not a physical person, that makes it okay. Why do you disagree?
That's absolutely what the government argues in this case and similar cases. But the U.S. Supreme Court has rejected that argument in some very similar situations. And we think that those cases are what should really guide the decision here. And the difference is that technology really matters. People's expectations of privacy under the Fourth Amendment have always been shaped by the practical realities of policing, right? We've always known that, sure, a neighbor or the postal delivery worker or a cop could see us walking around for some period of time, maybe even could follow us or watch us for, for some hours at a time, maybe even days. But it's just not been a practical possibility for police to, surveil somebody in person, undetected, uninterrupted, for weeks and months on end. People get tired. They have to change shifts. They have to go to the bathroom. They have to eat food. They have to get home to their families. They're detected. It just wasn't realistic. Well, technology now has upended that practical protection against pervasive, unending, suspicionless surveillance. And in a couple of cases, the U.S. Supreme Court has said that technological capability, removing the practical barriers to pervasive police surveillance, matter. The first of those cases was a case called Jones versus United States, where police installed a little teeny kind of undetectable GPS tracker on the underside of someone's car, and without a valid warrant, used it for 28 days to watch everywhere that car went. And 5 members of the Supreme Court in that case said, sure, people know that, a cop or someone else, a neighbor, nosy neighbor, could be able to follow your car in person for some amount of time without you noticing. But there's no reality in which they could have followed your car for a whole month without detection, without you noticing it, without losing you. This technology just provides a categorically new power to follow you everywhere you go. A few years later, in a case called Carpenter, that was an ACLU case that I argued in the Supreme Court, the court again applied that logic to cell phone location records, saying when police go to our cell phone companies and ask for a significant period of our historical location data that's gathered through our cell phones, they have to get a warrant. Now, the government there had also argued, look, when you're walking around in public, anyone could see you. And so you shouldn't be able to complain if police go to this record held by the phone company and get information about where you were walking around in public. And the court rejected that again and said, no, the technology matters. This is highly sensitive personal information that tells a lot about you. And it's information that police never could have had access to in a practical sense before the cell phone age. It's exactly what's going on here. The length and depth and invasiveness of this technological surveillance is totally out of proportion with what police used to be able to do. And it's exactly the kind of invasion of privacy that the Fourth Amendment is designed to protect us against. Now, we're not saying police can never do it. We're saying police have to go to a judge, demonstrate probable cause that the suspect has actually committed a crime, and then the judge can put some limits on what the surveillance can do and then authorize it if it's appropriate.
I've got about a minute left, Nathan, for this last question here. If somebody says, well, wait a minute, I don't want criminals in my neighborhood and I'm not doing anything wrong. So what if they watch from across the street at my house? Why does this matter to everybody who is unlikely to be targeted by the police for something?
Well, the problem is that there's currently, under the government's view, absolutely no limit to their ability to do this. They could put surreptitious cameras outside of every house just in case they later suspected somebody and wanted to roll back the tape to see if they committed some crime. It could be a minor crime. It could be anything. What we're asking for is the kind of judicial oversight that the Fourth Amendment has required since the very founding of this country. A demonstration of probable cause and a judge issuing a warrant to prohibit the government from unfettered dragnets without any good reason, and to allow investigations where actually there's a reason and they just want to collect evidence of a specific crime.
All right, Nathan Wessler, the Deputy Director for the ACLU's Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project. Appreciate it. This is a fascinating case with a lot of big picture questions and soon-to-be answers. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks very much.
Your News Talk STL Morning News Roundup gets started in just about 4 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. What's happening today? Here's your first dose of the news you need to know. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Is the path to business business prosperity to find your best clients.
Bongino.
In other words, people with big voices like Newstalk STL, and then to kick them off the platform and attack them for barely stating an opinion.
Weekdays at 11.
Do you think that's an effective business model?
On Newstalk STL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Ken and Dr. Tobler, did you see the picture of Kanye with a shirt on, and on the back it said, White Lives Matter? He was originally Kanye West, right?
Yep.
Then just Kanye. Now he's just Ye. Is he?
Oh, you're kidding me. No,
yeah,
really?
Oh, yeah. Now he's just Ye, Y-E. So soon to just be E.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on Newstalk STL.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at Newstalk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL.
Okay, a whole lot to talk about. I mean, a lot going on right now, both here in the St. Louis area and obviously around the country as well. Among them, these three obviously caught my eye. A judge dishes out some actual serious jail time for three disgraced former St. Louis politicians. I was surprised, Ken, at how much they got as far as their sentence goes.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
because we've got to start doing something.
Oh, yes. And so I've got the basic details in a minute. We'll go into more depth about it about 6:05. And then that is the question, like what you just said is, okay, does this get the message across to the rest of the people in local politics? I don't know.
Yeah, well,
we got generations.
Time will tell that, I guess.
Yeah, generations of culture there in politics, and it's not just on the left, but pretty much the left runs everything in St. Louis. So in St. Louis City, that's what we're looking at. All right. Also, Democrats get the final win of the 2022 midterm elections by holding on to the U.S. seat, Senate seat in Georgia. We'll get into kind of what that means. I mean, we've already kind of beat to death what went wrong. We were talking about what went wrong before the election was finalized, but what it actually means. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And then a St. Louis County tax increment financing plan has got the NAACP rather pushing back in St. Louis County. I actually think they're right. I mean, obviously we're not going to agree a whole lot with the NAACP on a lot of issues, but I think they're right on this one. So we're actually going to talk to their president of the St. Louis County branch right around 8:05. It's, what time is it? 5:49 right now. That's Ken Williams. I'm Mike Ferguson. Okay, like I said, I'm going to go into more detail at 6:05. But here's the basic look at the sentences for the three now disgraced former St. Louis City elected officials. By the way, have you noticed, if you watch them on the news and the TV coverage and everything, they get very, very remorseful and apologetic, and their heart just hurts after they get caught and when they're about to be sentenced, when they're trying to get a smaller sentence.
Yeah, I wonder how they would be talking if they would never have gotten caught. I mean, if say for example, if you could figure out that scenario to where they could actually be interviewed while they're not being caught.
Right. The price just goes up.
Yeah.
But they had a huge change of heart
Yeah.
Right before they got sentenced. Let's see here. Former Board of Alderman President Lewis Reed and former Alderman John Collins Muhammad get over 3.5 years in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what their actual sentence is. Now, we know that a prison year is not quite a calendar year, but still, that's what they were sentenced to.
And then weren't they sentenced to also 7 years probation?
Yes, there's probation after it as well. And former Alderman Jeffrey Boyd gets just over 3 years because he didn't take quite as much. Basically, he probably didn't have enough time to catch up with them as far as the money grab goes. But by the way, they got to pay back all the money they took in bribes.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, they were very upset. Like, what do you mean? That was your cost of investigation.
Right.
You bribing me? What? I got that money fair and square in those bribes.
That's probably why they gave him the full-blown amount of time that they need to spend in jail.
Oh, for crying out loud. I mean, and I suspect there'll be some kind of like probation or some parole for good behavior or something like that. But
well, do you think? Let me ask you this question: do you think there's a possibility that some negotiation would go on to get other people involved?
I have something to say about that.
Okay.
It's 6:05.
All right.
That is an excellent point because reporters were asking about something like that. And it's not what was said that was interesting. It's what was not said.
Okay.
So we're going to do that at 6:05. Yes. The short answer is it's very, very possible. All right. As of January, the U.S. Senate will be in Democratic control by a 51-49 margin after the runoff election in Georgia. Aisha Hasney from Fox News has the update.
Herschel Walker was hoping that this would be his overtime win. Instead, he took that stage looking very disappointed and downcast as he made his concession speech.
We've had a tough journey, have we not? Yes. But one of the things I said is when they called the race, I said the numbers doesn't look like they're going to add up.
Senator Warnock taking the stage to accept victory just a short time after that.
You believe, as I do, that democracy is the political enactment of a spiritual idea.
Voter turnout here may have been the deciding factor in this race. More than 3 million people voted in this runoff, but a whopping 1.9 million voted early or by mail, and we know those earlies usually favor the Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the early voting makes a difference. Now what you know is that Republicans know, well, I guess we should vote early, save the time in the lines. It's just some people tend to, vote early or vote later. But we'll get into more details in a little bit here of what this actually means. I mean, I know a lot of Republicans are really disappointed. It was a little closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, 4 or 5 points, and it was just under 3. So it was a little closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and Joe Manchin's vote is even more valuable now.
Well, that's a good point. His and Kyrsten Sinema both.
Yeah.
But this win actually was really big for the Democrats for that reason, because of the Joe Manchin factor.
Yeah.
Right now, this gives them a little bit of breathing room when it comes to those key votes that are just going to be Republican versus Democrat.
I love how they call it they treat it like it's a mandate.
Yeah, when it's this close, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 2 Republican attorneys general now suing the Biden administration. So we've got actual legal action taking place, saying that the Biden administration, we know they colluded with social media companies to censor news and opinion and speech during the COVID fear-mongering era. At the center of it all, obviously, Lord Fauci. He was actually deposed recently on that issue. Among those at the deposition were Missouri Attorney General, soon to be U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt, and he was on Fox News' Jesse Waters Primetime last night to talk about that.
His daughter worked at Twitter. He said, I can't recall 174 times. This is coming from the guy who claimed to be the all-knowing, all-powerful Oz, right? Who was the science, according to him. But his memory lapsed when he was asked tough questions.
Yeah, but Anthony Fauci since said he has nothing to hide.
No, not at all.
No, nothing to hide at all. Jeez. Okay, we're going to get into that a whole lot more. All right, this is interesting. COVID vaccine mandate for the U.S. military. That may soon be a thing of the past, as it absolutely should become a thing of the past. Jill Nato from Fox News has the story.
The annual defense bill being negotiated by Congress includes a provision to end the COVID vaccine mandate for U.S. service members. Republicans pushed for that, saying the mandate was causing recruitment and retention problems across all services. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had been recommending the mandate stay to help keep COVID from impacting military readiness. The House is looking to wrap up the annual defense bill this week and then send it to the Senate. Besides ending the vaccine requirement, it calls for a 4.6% pay increase for service members. In Washington, Jill Nato, Fox News.
Two things on this. One, this is why it was so important for Democrats to lose control of the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
The funding.
Yeah, and they were talking about this morning on the roundup that they're having trouble getting people to join the military because of this shot thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I mean, among many others. I mean, if you're looking to go into a military career and you look at the Biden administration and how they've handled, for instance, Afghanistan.
Oh.
I mean, are you going to say, ooh, yeah, sign me up there?
I like that.
Right. Or are you going to look at some other line of work as well, or just wait for a little while until there's somebody else in office as a commander-in-chief that you're more confident in is going to have your back from a commander-in-chief perspective.
It's crazy, man. I mean, the rate of signings is lower than when they first initiated the volunteer military.
Oh, I don't have any doubt on that. I believe that. Absolutely. Now, also, I mean, this isn't related, but speaking of military and armed forces, and I've got a tribute a little bit later on. Today is Pearl Harbor Day.
Mm-hmm.
This 81 years ago today is when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor and killed about 3,500 U.S. Servicemen and those who were at Pearl Harbor as well. For our generation, we remember it through the stories of our grandparents.
My uncle was there.
Was at Pearl Harbor?
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandfather was in the Army, but he was not at Pearl Harbor. He was in the European theater later on. But it's getting harder and harder for people to actually remember because there are very, very few World War II veterans still left. They're just at that age. I mean, my grandfather's been gone for years. And so if they're around, they're in their 90s. So we've got to work harder as a country to actually, even if it's not remember, because remember means you knew it firsthand, but understand it. It maybe is the word that I'm looking for as well. So I've got a tribute a little bit later on for that. The Blues end their 4-game losing streak with a win in New York last night. Final score, Blues 7, Islanders 4.
I have a feeling that's going to be like all season like that.
Yeah, it's going to be like a high blood pressure.
Ups and downs.
High blood pressure season. Road trip continues with the Blues playing in Winnipeg tomorrow night. All right, just had 6:05. A judge really goes after some corrupt politicians. Man, that was nice to see. I'll tell you the details.
Report cards may not always be the most fun things for kids to get, but they are important. Their grades show how well they're doing in class and where they might need improvement. But why shouldn't schools get grades too? And shouldn't parents be able to see how their child's school compares to others? We at the Show Me Institute strongly believe the answer is yes. And that's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on several categories, such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Now you can. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of 3 ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a U.S.-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Canega watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Let the postmortem begin. No doubt that's what's going to be happening in Republican political circles now that GOP candidate Herschel Walker has narrowly lost to Democrat incumbent Raphael Warnock in the U.S. Senate runoff in Georgia.
Walker acknowledged to supporters in a concession speech Tuesday night that, quote, the numbers look like they're not going to add up. The victory by Warnock, the state's first black senator, ensures Democrats an outright majority in the chamber for the rest of President Biden's term. It also means the party won't have to negotiate a power-sharing deal with Republicans, and Vice President Kamala Harris won't be called on as often to break tie votes. The midterm still resulted in a divided government, with Republicans recapturing a majority in the U.S. House. Wagner reporting.
American Values President Gary Bowers says all is not lost, far from it, for the GOP.
You know, I know this has been a disappointing election cycle for those of us who are conservative, and particularly for conservative Christians. Nonetheless, we do have a working majority in the House of Representatives. There are going to be some serious investigations.
Bowers speaking with Town Hall News. Growing security concerns over a Chinese-owned video sharing app.
Maryland Governor Larry Hogan has announced a ban on the use of TikTok and certain China and Russia-based platforms in the state's executive branch of government. The emergency directive announced by Hogan on Tuesday is the latest development in states acting to address cybersecurity risks presented by the platform.
That's correspondent Keith Peters. In a victory for Republicans, a compromise defense authorization bill would end the Pentagon's COVID vaccine mandate for military personnel. The bill expected to come up for a vote in the House later in the week. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures are down 75 points. NASDAQ futures off 76. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month. A savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Well, the fog isn't as much of a factor as it was yesterday. Now, we do still have some to the south and the west, say around Washington, Missouri, Sparta, Illinois, and Farmington, all reporting low visibility. But in the immediate St. Louis area, about a mile and a half. So that shouldn't affect you too much this morning. We have no major crashes right now. This report sponsored by Blindster.com. And I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another foggy start this morning. Mostly outside of the metro areas is where you're going to find the dense stuff, and there's also a dense fog advisory outside of the metro areas. Temperatures will be in the low 40s this morning with a high today, a little warmer, 51 degrees under mainly cloudy skies and a mainly dry day. But the rain chance returns tomorrow. In fact, late tonight through the first part of tomorrow with temperatures in the 40s. It will be a wet day. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by The Dental Link. Call Dr. Alan Link today, 314-794-6464, to schedule your free consultation. Offices in Baldwin and Melville, 314-794-6464.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The news and talk
extending the pause on student loan payments
that matters to St. Louis.
The U.S. has now had 40 mass killings so far this year.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
What's happening in
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Have you noticed this entire social media, big tech censorship thing is almost getting too fast and too ever-changing to almost keep up with?
Oh yeah,
at this point,
it's been that way for a while. Hasn't
yeah,
it?
I mean,
at
but
least it feels that way to me
since Elon Musk took over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. I feel like I'm racing to try to keep up with it. You know, that's how big and how fast things are changing. So we're going to get the updates on that. We're going to get the updates on that around 6:35. I think we'll do that. 6:20. Obviously, the biggest news in the country right now is that the Democrats held on to the seat in Georgia for the U.S. Senate. We've already talked about, what went wrong. We talked about what went wrong before it actually went wrong because we saw what was happening here. And the race, to be fair, was a little bit closer than I thought it was going to be. But the question now is, what does this actually mean when it comes to how this is going to affect our lives? And we'll talk about that around 6:20. 6:07 right now. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here and got Ken Williams here. Oh, and 6:50. You know that old song. You guys are singers and I'm not. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes. It's a great song.
Have at it.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Oh, could it be the most dangerous time of the year?
It could be.
Oh,
hit it.
It's the most dangerous time of the year.
We'll talk about that at 6:50. Man, we didn't even plan that intro. That was great. All right, let's see here. Conservative Christmas giveaways are going on right now. We have given away a plethora of prizes, and we're going to do it again in the 8 o'clock hour here, and then Vic's going to do it, and then Tony's going to do it, then Chris and Tim are going to do it. And if you want a shot at these prizes, then just go to NewstalkSTL.com and register. We're just drawing names out of the hat, and you can win, among other things. We're going to give away a whole bunch of News Talk STL t-shirts, but you can win ticket vouchers for all kinds of great stuff and gift certificates for all kinds of great stuff. And we're just saying thank you for our second Christmas.
And it's the conservative Christmas presents that we're giving
That's
away.
right.
Yeah. They're just a bunch of presents.
Yeah.
That's why I look.
Yeah, precisely. So we'll do that. I was surprised last night. I'm checking the news before I go to bed, and turns out that the federal judge, man, did he whack the former, not like in a mafia sense, but did he smack the former alderman in St. Louis City? They got some serious sentences.
Yeah.
Absolute smackdown. It's kind of awesome.
Man, it really was.
Kind of.
Refreshing, I call it.
Yes, refreshing. That's the word.
Well,
That's
that is a good word. It is a good word because I think everybody just kind of assumed, you know what? They're political elites. They were caught red-handed. We know the feds got them, but let's be honest, this current federal administration and the DOJ, we know the problems with it, and we tend to protect the elites even when they fall. So I really wasn't expecting much. I really wasn't. But here's what happened. So, guys, I'm just going to list off the actual sentences, and then let's get your reaction to it. So, former board president Lewis Reed, he was sentenced to 45 months in prison. 45.
That's pretty awesome.
Just shy of 4 years.
Yeah, over 3.5 years. Same sentence for John Collins Muhammad, the former alderman. They also have to pay back all of the bribe money that they took. Lewis Reed, that's going to mean over $18,000. Collins Muhammad is going to have to pay back over $19,000. Jeffrey Boyd got a sentence of 36 months, and he's going to have to pay back $23,000. And then there's some, probation periods after that. Now, are they actually going to serve, 45 and 36 months? No, probably not.
Yeah, I mean that's the sentence time is usually a little less than or a little more than what they actually serve. Time served is usually it's a fraction of that.
It's outside of the moral aspect of stealing and all that. Think about it. I mean, this should be a message to everybody. 20 grand and your job's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You're in jail and you're going to have community service or probation and possibly community service for 7 years or something like that. Your life has been completely altered for $20,000 that you have to pay back, by the way.
Yeah, that you don't get to keep. Maybe he made some interest on that, so they'll probably let him keep the $18.
Maybe that.
There you go. No, he bought something stupid. That's what happened. And they're going to repossess that.
Yeah.
But that is the question, though. Listen, St. Louis, and this is not unique to St. Louis. Every major urban area, and St. Louis, the city is not a major city anymore because it's lost so much population, but every big city has corruption. It's just one of the absolute horrible things about politics in the United States, especially in deep blue run areas. So the question that Ken brought up during the news roundup and then just now is, does this send a message that will be received in the rest of City Hall? It sends a message. There's no question about that. Will it be heeded?
Yeah. I think this needs to be considered kind of the opening salvo. It really needs to be the new precedent. The new precedent is, if you're caught in a corruption scandal in the city of St. Louis, you're going down. That kind of thing. It's like you're not getting away. You're not, and once that precedent is set, that's what eventually will change the culture. So the real test here is going to be, how long can we keep this level of accountability up in the city?
And Mike and I were talking about this morning. I just think that maybe there's something else here, in the sentencing part of it. Are they encouraging someone to come forward and say, look, there's more people involved here?
Oh, right. Yes. Reporters were talking to the federal prosecutors after the sentencing, obviously getting their quotes for their stories. And they said, okay, is the investigation closed now? No answer.
Really?
No answer.
See, I find that really interesting.
There we go. Okay, so this could be a leverage play, essentially. It's like, hey, you flip on these guys, maybe this turns into a parole situation.
Well, yeah, and how many more are there out there, if any? That's what I took from it. Like I said, it wasn't what they said, it's what they refused to say. Because if they say, well, yeah, we just sentenced them, they're going to jail, that's moving on to the next case. But they wouldn't answer. They didn't say, well, no, we're still investigating them. They just, not going to comment on it.
Yeah, this is what usually sends your brain down the police procedural movie or TV show lane. It's like, oh, they're trying to make these boys crack so they can give up the big fish, right? So like that, I like that kind of stuff. I really do, and I hope that's the case. I hope we find out that there's. I mean, obviously there's more to it. There's always more to it. There's always a bigger fish kind of thing. But I hope we find out because people are being frog-marched out of their offices.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, now I want it videotaped, memed.
Is occasionally when you're feeling down, you play it.
Yeah. Did you ever? Okay, so speaking of that, I'm going to admit that I'm guilty of that. There are a bunch of videos on YouTube of 2016 when Hillary Clinton lost. Trump won, and the people
downcast
crying.
faces.
I have actually been like times where I was in a bad mood, and I would play that just to cheer myself up.
Yes.
But anyway,
so true.
What I don't know for sure is when their sentences are going to start, because they weren't just taken off. They're given time to put their like affairs in order and get other people to pay their bills and whatever the case is.
That also reinforces what I was saying, because maybe they wanted to give them time to stew about it a little bit. Also,
yeah, he's like, "Hey, is there anything you might want to tell us before
Just think about it.
before we remand you to custody?" I mean, just say it. I mean, just get off your chest.
Yeah. Well, and white collar crime. I mean, that's pretty typical. You've been sentenced. You've got to turn yourself in on this date to begin your sentence, and they negotiate that. Some are like, you know what, I'm showing up tomorrow. Let me get this thing over with as soon as possible. Others will try to, stay out there. But there's no appeal on this. They all pled guilty.
Right.
So there's not a matter. This isn't conviction. They admitted. And so this is the deal they got after admitting to what they did. So who knows what it could have been if they'd actually gone to trial and been convicted with the pictures and the video and the documents and everything alongside the whole case in there. But, because you're going to have to, they're going to give you time to, make sure your mortgage gets paid and who's going to be in charge and signing over power of attorney to a bunch of stuff and, having that tough conversation with the wife or the girlfriend or both, depending on your lifestyle.
right.
What's it going to be?
Who gets the visits?
Yeah. Who gets the visits? And I'll just leave it at that. All right. Okay. So just ahead here, Raphael Warnock retains a seat in Georgia. You've heard that news. Let's talk about what that actually means to us, not just the political scoreboard in Georgia. What does that mean to all of us? We'll get that conversation going around 6:20 right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just starting to pick up a little bit of volume. 55 northbound headed into the work zone in South City. 270 westbound is already a little slow coming into West Florissant. They have the right lane closed for construction work there already. And eastbound 270 at 367, they've got the right lane closed, although traffic is light in that eastbound direction. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
The roller coaster. No matter your age, no matter the amusement park, it never ceases to bring the emotional goods, the anticipation, the excitement, and then the fear and adrenaline rush that comes with the king of all rides. The same can be said when it comes to your retirement. Lots of questions and concerns that for some can feel like a roller coaster. Will you be able to continue to live as comfortably as you do now? Will you have complete financial independence? Will you run out of money? How about taxes, Social Security, or health care? Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group can answer these questions and more with their in-depth portfolio x-ray. Call 636-230-8824 or visit theallfinancialgroup.com. And let's save the fear and adrenaline rush for the amusement park.
Investment advisory services offered by All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor in Missouri. Insurance products are offered through its affiliate, All Insurance Group, LLC, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kenny Zhu, president of Color Us United.
Race became a profitable industry. That's what happened. Racial victimhood. We all believe in civil rights, but then there are people who actually profit off of racial victimhood in this country. Diversity, equity, and inclusion right now, the new hot thing in companies, is a $10 billion plus industry.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. Christine and I trust our home with Agers because at Agers, customer satisfaction is the #1 priority. And as you know, St. Louis winters are too cold and unpredictable to not be prepared for. So if your furnace isn't keeping your family warm and comfortable, don't wait and risk the problem getting worse. Whether it's time for repairs or replacement, Agers has you covered with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or at callagers.com.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. President Biden traveled to Arizona on Tuesday. No, not to survey the southern border or address the immigration crisis that his policies have worsened exponentially, but to tour a Taiwanese computer chip manufacturing plant in Phoenix. TSMC has announced it will more than triple its planned investment there to $40 billion. Given that Arizona is a border state, and given the proximity of Phoenix to the border, one might expect the president could work a brief visit into his travels. But that, of course, might require him to acknowledge and confront the destruction wreaked by his administration's disastrous policies, and accountability isn't exactly a prominent feature of this administration. So what did Joe say when Fox News' Peter Doocy asked, "Why go to a border state and not visit the border?" "Because there are more important things going on," was his retort, before pointing to the chipmaker's announced investment. Granted, an investment of this nature is important, but with this statement, the president has made his priorities clear, and securing the southern border, addressing the perils of illegal immigration, and the out-of-control drug and human trafficking don't rate. Nice slap in the face to Arizonans dealing with the border crisis on a daily basis, Joe.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, we keep learning more about the depth of the social media censorship in the news that we keep finding out more about. I would say it's in the news. It's on Twitter because Twitter's telling us what they did at this point. Thank you, Elon Musk. Now there's actual legal action being taken against the Biden administration about it. So not just we're going to have a hearing, we're going to have an investigation. There's actual legal action that's happening. We're going to talk about that around 6:35. 6:22 right now. Gabe Pfeiffer is here. Ken Williams is here. I have no idea what kind of brain fart I just stopped. I almost said Gabe Williams and Ken Pfeiffer. I have no idea how that happened.
Ken Pfeiffer.
I mean, I just Williams every once in a while that happens. You know, you ever like look at your since we all have daughters, like say something to your wife, but say your daughter's name or vice versa.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And my wife always calls my daughter what would she say? Your sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There you go. And I've mistakenly called my daughter my little sister's name, and it's usually when I'm frustrated, and my brain goes back to when I was frustrated. But what I mean? I think there's a brain thing that happens there. It's just interesting. So basically, we're a unit,
or just really, pretty much.
In your brain, we're a unit.
Or like I was really
the show folks.
Yeah, I was really, really, really tired once, and I brain malfunctioned so bad. It wasn't that I mixed up Rachel and Amber, my wife and my daughter, respectively. It's that I actually said Rosie once.
Oh,
the cat.
Rosie's the cat.
My cat.
I think you were going to say Ramber.
Yeah.
Ramber.
Jeez. All right.
Unit.
Okay.
Ladies I love.
Yeah, precisely.
Right. See?
Oh, jeez. All right. Okay, so on to not quite as brainless stuff. Let's talk about politics.
Okay.
And elections and voters. Democrats hold on to the U.S. Senate seat in Georgia. You probably heard that news already, meaning that they actually pick up one seat overall. So remember, it was a 50-50 tie going into the midterms, and now the Democrats have actually picked one up.
Yep.
They've also picked up one. If you look at the governor's races, the Democrats actually have one more now than they did before the midterms. That's the first time that's happened since 1934.
This is wild to me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we talk about how, historically in the midterms, whoever the sitting president is, whatever party they're in, they take major losses in other areas of government because people are kind of like, you know what, I don't like the job you're doing. Let's flip the script and mess with you, essentially. That's kind of what the American public has usually done for basically our entire history.
Yeah.
And now, in, I think, one of the worst situations, one of the clearest indicators that the people in charge were messing it all up, we have them pick up a governorship and a Senate seat.
Yeah.
That makes no sense whatsoever. And the only thing I can think of is absolute incompetence in the party that should have been the winners here.
Yes, there is some of that. But I will also argue that we really have had that much of a shift in values and character and mindset generationally. I really do think the youngest couple of generations have simply shifted that far. And so the challenge is even more to reach them. The reality is that, like, I'm thinking, looking at the midterms as what do we do, for instance, a media outlet like this? What's our job? Is our job just to sit there and complain and throw a fit every time my administration does something terrible? Sort of. But I think that we also need to be part of reaching out to those who have abandoned the values that built the country, because there are a lot of people who have simply said, I don't care how bad you are, I'm on board.
And if you're correct about that, Mike, that pendulum has to swing real far before it changes back, because these people that did vote to the left this time, the younger people, they aren't going to just vote right. They need to be shown. They need to see really what they did before they go to vote another way, and that's going to take a while.
It is going to take a while, and one of the interesting things is that the conservatives who pushed back and fought the culture war in the smart way actually won.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you've got your DeSantis's, you got your Rand Pauls, you got
Mike Lee,
your Eric Schmidts. These are the guys who made the culture war like part of their platform, and they said, okay, all of the actions that I'm taking right now are going to be to push back in these areas where the left has taken over territory in the culture, and they all won. Yeah. I think there's a reason for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So all hope is not lost. But as we move in between now and the next elections and the legislative session and the congressional work that's being done, what we're not going to do is just throw a hissy fit every time that the left does something. We're going to tell you about it. We're going to keep pointing out, how destructive they are. But we're also going to do a lot of focus on, all right, here's how you go into work. Here's how you go to your holiday things. Here's how you go to your kids' Little League game when there's a bunch of people who are wrong, and how we start winning these votes back one at a time, because that's what it's going to take. So more of an informative and I think hopefully empowering from a conservative lens is kind of the direction I'm going to start taking this show, I think.
Okay, that sounds good, because what it feels like, what it seems like is, you ever play in a sports league and it feels the other team is cheating, the ref's not calling it, you're just like, what, you're kind of demoralized at halftime. It's like, what the heck? And coach is like, well, you just have to outperform them. You have to perform so well that their cheating becomes meaningless.
Right.
Like that's all you can do. You can't stop them from cheating.
Where
at this
did you
point.
get that analogy?
Life. No, seriously. I remember being in one of those games where it's just like coach, they're cheating and the ref's not calling it. And right. it feels really easy to just kind of throw up your hands and just complain the whole way and take the L.
Right.
As opposed to, no, you buckle down and you beat the crap out of them so badly that their cheating means nothing.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop complaining about this stuff, but we're going to do it constructively.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, let's talk about real quick the political aspect of what this means, the difference between 50-50 with the vice president on your side and 51-49. Like I said before, that's actually significant.
It's a big deal.
Brett Baer was doing coverage last night on the election, and he pointed out, I think this was a really good thing, very, very poignant thing, important thing that he pointed out.
It means that the Senate becomes Democratic control, which it was at 50-50, but now it's 51-49, meaning that the committees will have one more Democratic seat on them. It will be easier for Democrats to push through the Biden agenda, to push through judges and seats that are open, and it gives a little breathing room for Democrats when it comes to policy in the United States Senate. It also takes the pressure off and the power away from Democratic senators like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema.
So here's my question. Very narrow majority in the House, very narrow Democratic majority in the Senate. Does this mean that stalling or stopping the Biden administration and the hard left radicals in the Democratic Party, does that mean that stopping them in the House is the best we can hope for in 2023 and 2024?
I think that's all we got.
Yeah, right now, yeah. The biggest thing that concerns me of what he said is the whole getting nominations of judges.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a huge thing.
When you are voting for Senate and you are voting for president, that is part of what you're voting for.
Yeah, you're shaping the judicial system. You know, the top to bottom, really. I mean, because federal level judges aren't just. We're not just talking about the Supreme Court. We're talking about many lower courts as well.
Yep.
Those appellate courts and all those lower court rulings, those things shape society just as much.
And the prosecutors.
And the prosecute. That's right. And the prosecuting attorneys. They're making decisions that have impacts directly on your life.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the House can't do anything about the judges. That's all in the Senate.
Yep.
But yeah, that may be the best we can do. Okay, so just ahead here, speaking of the COVID fear-mongering era and the social media censorship, there's actual legal action being taken against Fauci, the Biden administration. I'm glad to see somebody on offense. I've got the update for you around 6:35 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Hey, how you doing? Santa Vic here. You can win some great prizes with Newstalk STL's St. Louis Conservative Christmas.
And that's not crap.
See, that's not going to do that's crap. It's not well done.
Log on to NewstalkSTL.com for your chance to win.
From the Newstalk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. More testing is being done within the Hazelwood School District looking for radioactive contaminants. The Hazelwood Central High School football field is one site. A district spokesperson confirmed this is being done out of an abundance of caution because a former employee made a report saying that soil from Jana Elementary may have been used to level the ground more than 25 years ago. Residents near Kimmswick, Missouri may have felt some shaking Tuesday night after a magnitude 2.5 earthquake was detected. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the earthquake's epicenter was about 2 miles east of Kimmswick at about 8:30 p.m. Renters and homeowners in Illinois who were affected by the July floods have until Thursday, December 22nd, to submit a FEMA disaster aid application. Illinois residents may apply for help online at disasterassistance.gov. U.S. Senator Roy Blunt said farewell to Washington yesterday. He is retiring after a political career just short of 50 years. His term ends in January. Blunt focused on working with others during his 20-minute speech, saying at one point that finding someone on the other side to work with produces the most lasting results. And in sports, the Blues beat the Islanders 7-4 in New York last night. Next up, the Blues welcome the Jets to Enterprise Center tomorrow night. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Southbound 170 past Page. We've got a crash blocking the 2 left lanes. Traffic is jamming north of Page. Be prepared to stop. On the Earth City Expressway northbound at Ryder Trail South, watch out for a crash blocking the left lane. 270 westbound already backing up approaching West Florissant this morning. The right lane appears to be closed due to road work, and we may have an incident in that construction zone. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another foggy start this morning. Mostly outside of the metro areas is where you're going to find the dense stuff, and there's also a dense fog advisory outside of the metro areas. Temperatures will be in the low 40s this morning with a high today, a little warmer, 51 degrees under mainly cloudy skies and a mainly dry day. But the rain chance returns tomorrow. In fact, late tonight through the first part of tomorrow with temperatures in the 40s. It will be a wet day. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
The Range St. Louis West is all about safety. That's why training is a critical part of what we do. No one wants to be in a situation where seconds count, but help is minutes away. But if that day comes, are you ready? No matter what your firearm experience level is, we have courses and instructors that can help. The Range St. Louis West is the area's premier training facility, shooting range, and all things firearms retail facility. Check us out online at therangestl.com or stop by and visit with our professional staff. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
We kind of got organically into a conversation yesterday about law enforcement, and the pension question came up, and recruiting officers and defund the police and all of that sort of thing. And turns out that Gary Wiegert, who was a former president of the St. Louis Police Officers Association, was listening, and he reached out to me. And I've run into Gary at conservative stuff before, and so we're going to talk to him at 7:05 and actually fill in some answers with some of those conversations we were having yesterday, because this affects St. Louis City in a huge way. Also, St. Louis City, which actually is in the process of hiring a new police chief.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
As well. They actually had a public forum last night with the 4 finalists where people could just question them and that sort of thing. And that's all happening at the same time that the state of Missouri is considering, through the legislature, retaking control of the St. Louis Police Department at the state level as well. So there's a lot going on. So that conversation is going to happen at 7:05. It is 6:37 right now. I'm Mike. That's Gabe. That's Ken. Okay, so the social media censorship situation. There's a difference between beating the dead horse. First of all, it's not dead. It's still there.
Oh, yeah.
But secondly, between just going over and over and over, like I said, about what's happened and getting angry about it, or there's doing something about it and knowing how to leverage this into fixing the problem. So the Twitter censorship story is not stopping with the Biden campaign, emphasis on campaign, pressure to suppress news and opinions. There's now legal action being taken over the Biden administration, present tense, actions to do that during the COVID fear-mongering era.
There you go.
Most of the fear-mongering era is over, but there still is some fear-mongering era going on right now.
There's a lot of threat going on.
Yeah, well, the CDC is now starting to say, you know what, we got this flu and RSV, and you may have to start masking up again. I mean, watch out. I'm telling you, watch out. Some of these mandates could very well be coming. There are still places around St. Louis that still have those stupid mask mandates. Believe it or not.
You got a lot of people walking around with masks.
I saw one yesterday.
Oh, I saw a whole bunch of them.
I saw a lady in her car by herself with a mask on.
Still.
Just drive through my neighborhood. I looked up. I was like, oh, no, not now.
I saw one walking by herself on the sidewalk.
I was at Target, and this little old lady, man, I felt so sorry for her. She was all masked up really good. And she was at the other end of the aisle, and I coughed. I've got the cough thing still.
Oh, yeah, the little.
Completely, just a cough, and sinus-based. She looked at me, turned around, and bolted. I mean, she was out of there.
She was done.
She is broken, man.
Broken. That's the word I was about to say. There are so many people who have been broken.
That's it.
By this. It's cold and flu season.
Yeah, you've been through dozens of them.
We've survived it for 50 some odd years, and oh my goodness. But back to the fear mongering and the censorship and everything that went with it. Twitter now firing another company official, high-ranking company official, for what many are saying is playing a role in suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story in particular.
Okay.
So we're going back to the campaign. Elon Musk is still dealing with the administration post-election, but this happened just within the last 24, 36 hours. Fox News' Brooks Singman actually has the story to bring us up to date on what that's all about. This is interesting.
CEO Elon Musk is cleaning house, firing a key player in the Hunter Biden laptop censorship scandal, tweeting, in light of concerns about James Baker's possible role in suppression of information important to the public dialogue, he was exited from Twitter. A user replying to that tweet asking, was he asked to explain himself first? To which Musk responded, quote, yes, and his explanation was unconvincing. Congressman James Comer is interested in that explanation. He called on Baker and two other former Twitter heads involved in suppressing the 2020 Hunter Biden laptop story to appear before Congress, writing, quote, the American people deserve to know why Twitter took down the Hunter Biden laptop story, even when your colleagues were questioning the rationale for suppressing the story.
I love he was exited.
He was exited, yeah. My biggest concern about this whole thing, and they're going to go into, I'm sure, investigations in the House as soon as January hits. My biggest concern is that there's going to be so much information, so many different things, so many different people involved that the public is going to generally get lost in it.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a tactic.
Yeah, that's true, because I've seen that happen before. I can't exactly put my finger on exactly what the topic was, but you can overwhelm the public with so much information that they just check out, and they're just like, you know what, I'm going to move on to something else. Let's talk about Wednesday Addams series on Netflix or whatever.
What was it?
Which we were just
Taibbi is his name. Taibbi. Matt
Taibbi. Yeah.
Yeah. When he put out all that information originally, I read through it. It was, I think, 40 posts or something like that at once. The initial one, and it was a lot. I mean, I got through it, but I don't think the general public is going to go through all that stuff, especially if they have multiple things like that.
They're going to look for the summaries.
Yes. They're going to find their favorite news outlet, and they're going to go say, okay, what's your summary of it? That's exactly what
Which may be why none of this appeared on the major news sites immediately after, when you think the iron was hot and people would be striking. You didn't get one summary from a journalist on any of the big sites. It wasn't on their front page or anything.
And they'll tell you that they covered it because they covered reaction to it, and they will mention that it happened. But there was almost no coverage of these documents that were published out over something that major. It's just it's remarkable. I mean that in the connotative way.
The most I saw was reactions was reactions from journalists on Twitter just basically doing the conservatives pounce thing. You ever see that where basically if something comes out about the left and conservatives are talking about it, the story becomes the conservatives' reaction to it and how out of bounds it is.
Oh, how about Matt Taibbi? I can't, for some reason, remember his name. He became the lawyer for the richest man in the world.
Oh, yeah, the PR firm.
PR firm.
Running
PR
for the richest man.
right.
Yeah, look up that phrase on Twitter. Just do a little search, PR for the and richest man. And those two phrases together, and you will see a myriad of journalists echoing the same sentiment. It's weird. It's almost like there's kind of a hive mind of leftist journalists out there.
There are like 15 of the major outlets that posted tweets that included that exact phrase.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Funny part is Taibbi's not even a conservative.
No.
He was beloved by the left.
He was a center left guy. He's not even a conservative.
Yep. Oh, then there were the how far Taibbi has fallen posts.
Yeah.
You caught those too?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, I bet you his reach on his social media is reaching farther than yours media outlet. Okay, so then you look at that. That's about the Hunter Biden stuff. Now let's go back to the COVID era stuff.
Yes.
The fear-mongering era stuff.
The administration malfeasance stuff.
Yeah. This is a whole different thing. So Eric Schmidt, obviously soon to be Senator Eric Schmidt, still Attorney General Eric Schmidt, he was part of the deposition of Anthony Fauci recently.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on Jesse Waters' primetime last night talking about that. And basically at the center of all of this is Fauci. And he, Eric Schmidt's actually released the transcript. Talk about overwhelming. It's like 350 to 400 pages of transcripts that he has just completely released. And he was on with Waters last night, like I said, talking about it.
This guy was the high priest of COVID tyranny. And when they were sending out those smoke signals to carry out his orders, people were censored and lives and livelihoods were ruined. I mean, it's a disgrace.
And Eric Schmidt went on to say that Fauci said that he could not recall the answers to questions 174 times during the deposition.
Huh.
Wow. See, that's somebody who's completely out of touch or they're lying. High priest of COVID tyranny. I like that.
I represent science.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm sorry, Gabe.
I represent science.
Thank you.
There it is. So here's the thing, though, is as you look at rumblings by elitists and authoritarians around the country to start wanting to bring stuff out, they're trying to scare people again. Look up the word triple-demic and see how it's being used in your local media.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, cold and flu season. And now the COVID virus is mutated into something that might be a cold, or you might mistake it for an allergy that you take an antihistamine for. But look at how that is, the groundwork is being laid to try to bring that kind of control back. And hopefully we preempt that with enough people, conservative, liberal, in the middle, everywhere else saying absolutely not, don't even think about it.
I will not comply.
No.
Yes, and I will not. Yeah, hell yes.
Absolutely.
I will not comply, without a doubt, about that. So that's why it matters. That's why it's important. That's what we do with the actual information here. All right, just ahead here, is it the most wonderful time of the year or the most dangerous? I'm going to do some fear-mongering myself.
Yay.
Holiday fear-mongering. Holiday fear-mongering just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Southbound I-170 should be clearing out approaching Page. We had a crash there that cleared at 6:41, so that's given it a few minutes to clear out. Bryan Road at Mexico, the intersection is completely blocked. We've had an accident and a pretty big police presence there. That's Bryan Road at Mexico. 270 westbound overloaded west of 367 to New Florissant. They've already got a lane closed for construction work there. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro, do it yourself, and save big at Blindster.com.
What happens next?
Supply chain bottlenecks.
Happens right here.
And make inflation worse.
I think 2023 is going to be a year of extreme pain for the middle class.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Hey, it's Tim Jones. You need an event space that people will talk about later and forever? View 17 in Brentwood is that place. Perfect for corporate, private, or even public events, View 17 is ultra-modern and fully broadcast ready for live streaming your event. And get this, all tech rentals are included in the rental fee. View 17 on the 17th floor of the old U-Club Tower, like no other event space in the area. What a view. Check it out right now at VUE17.com. VUE17.com. I might even see you there.
Let me tell you about my good friends Mike and Beverly Sloan over at Elite Printing and Packaging. Going on their 21st year in business, a success story that began in Mike's basement and now employs hundreds right here in the St. Louis community. Elite is a turnkey solution for all your retail printing and packaging needs. Custom built to suit your business. Call 636-561-8970 or email elitesolutionsgroup.com. And don't forget to use the code word PATRIOT to receive free design and artwork for your first project.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Wednesday, and at 3:40, we'll talk to Project 21's Horace Cooper, 4:07, Dr. Bob Onder, and at 4:25, Mike Ferguson.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Okay, since fear-mongering is like the thing to do, I want to do a little holiday fear-mongering in just a moment here.
Yay.
Okay, 6:51. By the way, those of you who live in more of the southern part of the News Talk STL listing area, which I guess, Ken, would be you because you're in South County.
Yeah.
As well. I want to congratulate you.
How? Why?
if you weren't already, you're now an earthquake survivor. Did you know that?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't feel it, but I heard about it this morning.
Just out of Kimswick, that was the epicenter of a 1.6 earthquake.
Oh, 1.6.
Magnitude, yeah, which that basically 1.6, I think, is what happens when an 18-wheeler drives by your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
So that's why I didn't feel it.
That's why you didn't feel it. So a lot of South County and some South City, south of the metro, reported feeling it, which basically was like, what was that? Like quiver, that rattling for a second.
Did you feel that?
So for those of you in the southern part of the News Talk STL community, congratulations, you have survived an earthquake.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get any worse because I tried to get earthquake insurance and you can't hardly get it anymore.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't like that stuff.
No. I mean it's basically a free premiums for the company, but in that off chance that something actually happens,
those are big numbers.
They're losing everything on there. By the way, that 1.6 shaker happened around 8:35 last night, just in case you're wondering.
Oh,
okay.
So,
well, there you go.
There you go. There you have it. Okay, are the holidays dangerous?
Yes.
So there was this survey that was done, and like 30% of people have reported suffering some kind of holiday-related injury.
Really?
Really?
30%.
Like, do they have like examples?
Yes, exactly.
All right, holiday-related injuries.
Have you ever experienced a holiday-related injury?
Yes.
You know, I get on the roof of my house.
That's what it is.
But I don't think I've ever gotten hurt from it though. I've been lucky, I guess.
Now I just have various strains and things like that from lifting or reaching, or like I come out sore or something.
That yeah.
Nothing like an injury. Like I haven't fallen off a ladder yet, God forbid.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't think of a real injury. I might have gotten zapped once messing with my electrical.
Checking the lights. Yeah. That's happened to me.
You know, one of those.
Okay, so what do you think would be the most common holiday activity injury?
Falling off the ladder.
Okay.
Yeah, just falls basically.
Falls, yeah.
I would say that. Yeah.
That made the list, but it's way at the bottom.
Really?
Yeah.
So I want to hear what the other ones are now.
So of those who reported having some kind of injury, only 4% said that it was because of falling off a ladder.
Is it fire damage from trying to deep fry a turkey?
Well, sort of. 10%. Yeah, 10% said that they were hurt cooking.
Cooking injuries.
Which would include that.
Okay. Like burns and things like that.
Right,
Okay, people do that.
right.
I get that.
Yeah.
6% said that they've been burned by a candle.
Really?
I don't know. You almost have to go out of your way to do that.
Put your hand
I don't know
over
how
it.
you do that.
Ow.
I'm going to be like the cool guy in the movie and just, take my thumb and index finger and turn it off that way.
Or just holding a candle without something over your hand to keep the wax from getting at you. I mean, are they doing that kind of garbage?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the only way you get hurt.
How do you get hurt with a candle?
Yeah.
It's fire, guys. Be careful.
Right. Yeah, don't put your hand over it.
don't touch the fire.
Let's see here. 11% say they've just slipped or tripped over something outdoors. I don't know if that's a holiday-related injury or you're just clumsy.
Well, it could be that, all of the things outdoors include all of those long green extension cords for all of your lawn ornaments, like what I had going on in my front yard.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful there.
4% were hurt while standing on furniture while putting up decor, and 3% were injured while putting up decorations or lights on the roof.
Yep, those are the falls.
Last weekend, Rachel wanted me to put up the garland. You guys know that front porch I've got right there, the brick there. She wanted the garland put up there, so that's my job to do
drape
that.
Kind
of drape it down, and I had to climb up on that brick wall on the front of it there.
Oh.
So I'm getting this done. I'm thinking, oh yeah, this could be bad if I lost my balance on something.
You could roll down your front yard and get lost.
That's real. I've got a very steep front yard.
I was thinking about it. I was like, wait a minute. Just getting up on... Everybody else is thinking, okay, a wall in your front porch, what's the big deal? You're barely a few feet off the ground.
Not in my house.
Mike's hill rolls straight down basically from that wall. So when he gets up on that wall, he's a good 15 feet off the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
if you fell back, you're not falling straight down. You're falling down the hill.
Yeah.
So
I would fall, and there's that mulch area with the plants. I mean, I would say because down to the street, it's more than 15.
Yeah.
But from that down to where the sidewalk is in front of it, that's probably 5-6 feet straight down right there at the bottom of it.
I think that's more.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
you could get hurt.
Oh yeah. But the most common holiday injury. This is so weird to me.
Most common. All right.
13% cut themselves while wrapping or opening presents.
Paper cuts.
Big
time.
I forgot about
you
the
know what?
Injury.
There's something about that though. I mean, I've been cut by cardboard. Have you ever gotten a
cardboard cut? Yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
Yeah.
Does that count as an injury though?
Well, sure.
Well, a cardboard cut, but a paper cut.
They said cut. I mean, I'm
technically
thinking
it's an injury.
I'm thinking did they get out the X-Acto knife to open the box and cut through the packing tape and go crazy on it?
I would say that is that in there.
It doesn't. It just says opening, wrapping or opening.
Okay.
So I'm thinking scissors to cut the stuff.
Maybe. Or I guess if you bleed, that's an injury.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
because a ton of us just get paper cuts that are just basically, it's skin deep, and you look at it like,
you're like,
that's
that's
gonna sting. It's gonna be a little flap of skin that's gonna annoy me when I pick up things. That's
Right.
pretty much it for most paper cuts. But some of these paper cuts, though, I mean, you're just like, well, I need stitches.
You put the hand sanitizer on. You're like, ow, dang it. Oh, I've got a paper cut.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what's not going to surprise you. Of those who reported injuries, 12% of them said they were intoxicated at the time.
Oh, really?
Okay. Well, that changes the texture of this list.
Yeah. So remember, it's the most dangerous time of the year.
Right.
Be careful, folks. We want you back in 2023, so don't suffer a fatal holiday mishap or something.
Wrapping paper.
Do you live in St. Charles County? Then you can get Mid-Rivers News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. Mid-Rivers News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit midriversnewsmagazine.com/subscribe to get a copy delivered to your mailbox. Or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. Mid-Rivers News Magazine. Anybody who wants it, gets it. Anybody who gets it, wants it. Subscribe for free today.
We tried Dynovite nutritional supplement, and after a couple of weeks, we noticed a big difference. Our little Gizmo's coat was shinier, and there was a lot less scratching and shedding.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Guys, are you getting up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? As we get older, so do our prostates, and that can mean urinary problems that affect our sleep and quality of life. Life is better outside the bathroom. Real Health's Prostate Complete can help you relieve those annoying and painful prostate symptoms. Available at Walmart or visit realhealth.com for more information and to order yours today. Try it risk-free with our 120-day money-back guarantee. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Well, the midterm elections are finally history, and the Democrats will hold a 51-49 majority in the U.S. Senate, with Raphael Warnock's narrow win in the Georgia runoff.
The people have spoken.
The incumbent beat Republican challenger Herschel Walker.
There's no excuses in life. And I'm not going to make any excuses now because we put up one heck of a fight.
The runoff came as Warnock led Walker by 37,000 votes in last month's election, but fell short of the 50% threshold needed to avoid a runoff.
Correspondent Donna Warder, American Values President Gary Bauer agrees with Walker's assessment of his campaign. Bauer says Walker did indeed put up quite a fight.
Well, I think Herschel Walker did a great job. People have already forgotten that he debated Warnock, and people had low expectations of Herschel Walker going into that debate, but he did very well. Most people thought that he had won the debate.
Bauer speaking with Town Hall News. Close to 2 million votes cast between early voting and absentee ballots. Those early votes typically benefit the Democrats. Warnock's margin of victory, roughly 57,000 votes. Going better than expected, efforts to restore power to tens of thousands of utility customers in Moore County, North Carolina. Duke Energy originally expected full restoration of service by tomorrow.
We have made very good progress and are moving that estimate up to Wednesday night, just before midnight.
Duke Energy's Jeff Brooks, gunfire disabled 2 electric substations last weekend, resulting in the outage. No suspects in custody. The investigation, though, does continue. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures are down 143 points. NASDAQ futures 121 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain.
That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
From the studio that brought you Miracles from Heaven comes 5,000 Blankets.
There are over 5,000 homeless souls in this city alone, so it is Philip's wish to reach each and every one of them with a comforting gesture.
Inspired by an extraordinary true story.
We have to believe we can make a change, no matter how small.
Anna Camp stars in 5,000 Blankets. Exclusively in theaters for 2 nights only, December 12th and 13th. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. For tickets and info, go to 5000blanketsmovie.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Mexico Road remains shut down at Bryan Road. We've had an incident involving a stolen vehicle that crashed there. Just avoid the intersection. 55 north, add about 5 minutes running up through Bayless in Virginia. 270 westbound, you've got a 7-minute delay. That is construction work already. They've got the right lane closed at West Florissant this morning. 6455 westbound headed for the Poplar Street Bridge is busy around the bend. Tesson Ferry at Schussler, we've got an injury crash, and watch out for a stalled vehicle 44 eastbound past 270. Right lane's closed, but there's no delay. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another foggy start this morning. Mostly outside of the metro areas is where you're going to find the dense stuff, and there's also a dense fog advisory outside of the metro areas. Temperatures will be in the low 40s this morning with a high today a little warmer, 51 degrees under mainly cloudy skies and a mainly dry day. But the rain chance returns tomorrow. In fact, late tonight through the first part of tomorrow with temperatures in the 40s. It will be a wet day. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
As a noun, hiatus is an interruption in time, a pause, or a break. As a tequila, hiatus is naturally clean yet complex, ideal for sipping neat, but it also shines in a cocktail. Some companies cut corners, but we prefer to take our time as our blue agave plants take up to 8 years to fully ripen. We got your taste at Hiatus Tequila. Go on a hiatus from the everyday. You deserve it.
Get 10% off your first order using coupon code HOLLY10 on shophiatustequila.com.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
On Tuesday's program, we were, it kind of organically had a conversation turn into what's going on with St. Louis Police Department, obviously with recruiting and retention, and pensions came up as well, because that's one of the things that police departments offer their officers. And I mentioned, how pensions in general just really are designed for an economy of generations ago. And, I'd like to see, employees, whether it's public sector or private sector, be able to own their own retirement. But it kind of drifted into a law enforcement focus on that. And then I heard from Gary Wiegert, who used to be the president of the St. Louis Police Officers Association. And Gary, good to chat with you. I appreciate you. First of all, appreciate you listening to Newstalk STL, but also reaching out on this because I've run into Gary at conservative things around town every once in a while. And when it comes to the pension, you've been up and down and all around with the pensions, having been on the pension board, having gone through a fight with them. Obviously they eventually removed you after you were sending information to the Attorney General about what was happening. So when you look at the pension situation right now, that's a big thing that they offer to police officers. And you were telling me on the phone yesterday that it may not be in as solid a footing as what a lot of people are being told right now, if I understood you right.
No. And hey, thanks for having me on. My pension right now, it's a dumpster fire. We lost $100 million in 1 year.
Wow.
And that's because our investments are so risky. It's a roller coaster ride. And I think as the city has less and less money to contribute, they're taking more and more risk. So we're investing heavily in emerging markets, which is basically China, very risky right now. And a lot of the companies we're investing in is at the discretion of the city. And so we invested in the Gompers Fund, and that's all this Green New Deal, had terrible returns. But this is what the city wants the money invested in. So, yeah, my pensions, it's got a lot of problems. If you want, I'll outline some of the problems for you.
Well, just one real quick clarification, though. We're talking, this is the pension for the St. Louis City police officers, correct?
Yes, only the retirees and actives. And we have about 1,530 retirees, and we have about 420 some odd widows who are on the pension plan also.
Yeah, and the other thing is that what's unique about pensions is unless they've changed it since my understanding of it, because I haven't done a pension related story in a long time, is that if you bankrupt your pension, taxpayers are basically on the hook to keep paying.
Yes. So when we have shortfalls, Mayor Slay stopped contributing to the pension a number of years ago. The pension board sued, and by court order, they have to keep it, I believe, 78% funded. And so last year, the city contributed $37 million into our pension. The 2 years prior, it was $33 million. But with the bad investments that have gone on, the city's contributions going up, and it's going to go up and up. I mean, there's going to be no stopping this. It's going to keep climbing. And at some point, the city's got their revenues are dropping. They're not going to be able to afford this.
Good morning, Gary. Gabe Pfeiffer here. The city's already got a challenge in trying to retain officers and recruit officers to police the community. How does the pension, you think, play into that whole discussion?
Well, I think the pension is the only thing that's keeping people there as they try to stay there to get their maximum benefits. A number of years ago, this was about 6 or 7. I'll tell you what, 7 years ago, Dean Plocker, the Speaker of the House, had sponsored a bill to try and change benefits for new hires. And I think that was I testified in support of that. And of course, then I got attacked by the union and Jane Duker and Jeff Warda. They wanted new hires to keep the same benefits, but it's just not sustainable. It can't happen. And so, when my pension plan was enacted, your life expectancy was 66 years old. Now it's 78, and they just cannot afford this anymore. And so these are the problems our pension is having. We have $5 million a year is paid out to disability officers with disabilities. So that's 15% of our payouts go to disabled officers. And I think what's happening is the work environment gets worse and worse. Officers were putting in for disabilities that I thought many were basically phony. And it's like an ongoing problem now. It's like we're digging ourselves deeper in a hole and we can't get out.
Good morning, Gary. This is Ken Williams. Considering the health of the pension in the city with the police officers, this is I want to see if you could suggest
yay or nay on this. If a police officer is considering leaving after being in for 5 years, but he's being on the fence because of the pension, would you maybe suggest, yeah, go ahead, it'd be okay to go at this point?
I would never suggest anyone leave my police department. I was there 35 years. I love that place, even though I think it's being poorly managed right now. So I would never suggest anybody leave. But I think they have to do certain things. I think the number one thing is pay. And I think one of the other things is stability. I mean, these young officers do not believe that pension is going to be there. In fact, when you talk to them, I think that's why a lot of them leave, because they know this isn't going to happen. I mean, the 20-year disability benefit was a great benefit for a lot of policemen, but it's just not sustainable right now. And the public doesn't like these 20-year pensions, because a lot of these guys take a pension at 20 and then they go get another job with the city or somewhere else, and then they get another pension. And I think these multiple pensions is another problem.
There are 4 finalists to become the next police chief, Gary. I mean, obviously, they'll be involved with this sort of thing. I mean, the mayor and the board of aldermen are out there as well. But what advice would you have for whoever is picked to be the next police chief, and what do you hope the city looks for in the police chief? And I don't know much about any of the 4 candidates, just the very basics, but what should the city want, and what advice do you have for that person, whoever it is that gets hired?
I would like to see a police chief who actually supports his men and wants pay raises for his men. He wants benefits for his men, and he wants to allow them to go out and really do their job. I'm afraid that police work is actually going the opposite way. I mean, we used to go out and basically hunt criminals. And now I think police work is going to be static, where you station a policeman at this location so a crime doesn't happen. We can't chase cars anymore. We really can't chase. They even put out a thing, even when I was on the department, where they try to discourage you from being involved in foot pursuits. And I know some police departments have said no more foot pursuits because people are getting injured. So I think I don't know what the answer is to all this with who's going to be the police chief. But I think whoever they pick as their police chief, it's going to be a heap of problems. And what happens is these chiefs come in with these new ideas, and they last for 3 or 4 years, and then they move on and they bring another guy in. And now I see we're going out of the area, and we're going to bring someone else in. Well, you're just bringing in failures from other police departments to come in and try and solve your problems, and then they'll do it for a couple of years, and then they'll move on.
Gary, really quick, state versus local control of city police. What are your thoughts?
So I was when I was president of the Police Officers Association, I always fought state control. But the problem is they came in, it went to a statewide vote. They promised the union a collective bargaining agreement, which was a terrible agreement. And then they promised the pension people that the state would still be able to administrate it. I thought it was a bad idea because, once we had a Janus ruling, the FOP could no longer force the black officers and the supervisors to join the organization. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Janus ruling, what the Supreme Court did on that. But public employees cannot be forced to pay into the union anymore. So that whole collective bargaining agreement was a bad deal from the get-go. I'm for state control. Kansas City went back to local control, and then it went right back to the state during the Prendergast years. I think we're going to have the same problem here. I'd like to see the state controlling us. I think one of the big problems with local control was that these lawsuits, when these people sue the city police department, there's no cap on it. So it's unlimited pay. It used to be when the state had control, they had a cap, I think, of $600,000 on a lawsuit. So I believe the state is probably the only thing that could probably save this police department.
Yeah, and there's a lot of a lot of local Democratic state representatives really angry about the proposals. I don't know how much appetite Governor Parson has for that, but it's going to be really interesting. Multiple bills say that some Republicans in the legislature are serious about putting the state control back on, because look what's happening in St. Louis, Gary. They're claiming, and we're a little bit over time here, but they're claiming that look, crime is down, it's working. We don't need to keep funding police to these same levels. But you ask anybody in St. Louis, we work in downtown area. We know what people are saying around here.
I think if you ask the citizens, they want more police. But unfortunately, the Democratic Party has changed. We have all these woke Democrats. They are very anti-police, and they will do whatever they can to defund the police. I mean, they're open about it. They say they want to defund the police department, and they are. And I think that will probably help destroy us.
And then wonder why the police officers want to leave. Yeah. All right, Gary Wiegert, former president of St. Louis Police Officers Association, you were a sergeant, I think, in the police department, right, in St. Louis?
Yeah, I retired as a sergeant.
Sergeant. Okay. Hey, Gary, appreciate you being on the program, and obviously for listening. We appreciate everybody listening.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks,
All right.
Gary.
You got it. Gary Wiegert there, former St. Louis City Police Sergeant and former union president there as well. All right, 314-912-1019. Just ahead, weird headlines. The Trump organization, not Donald Trump, the Trump organization convicted of a bunch of tax fraud charges. Okay, what's that actually mean? And is it what they're trying to say? Well, I'll get the update that we'll clarify as much as we can on some of this stuff. It's happening in New York State, so, there you go. 721 right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
See your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that now? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
On 6440 westbound past Boyle, we've got a crash in the two right lanes. Just a brief delay, but be prepared to stop. We do have a backup northbound 21 approaching Butler Hill up to Schuessler. They're clearing a crash there. 270 westbound, about a 7-minute delay. 367 to West Forest and through the construction zone. They've already got the right lane closed. And Bryan Road at Mexico, still an area to avoid. We've got a crash with a subsequent police investigation there. Their support sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Steph's Pizza. You know the name. They're famous for St. Louis-style pizza appetizers, salads, pastas, and even party platters. Steph's Pizza. Just the name makes your mouth water. 4 great locations in St. Peter's on Jungerman, on Elm at 370 in Zumbell, on Winghaven Boulevard next to MasterCard, and in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road. Tonight is a good night for Steph's Pizza. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com and find out why everyone is going to Steph's Pizza.
Columbo and Katie.
Their job at this incredibly upscale fancy restaurant in London is to go around to the tables and hand feed grapes to the customers.
I don't even want to be disturbed by a waiter that's filling up my glass every 5 seconds or asking me how I'm doing every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine someone coming over to me and being like, "And a grape for you, my dear."
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Michaels Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michaels. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michaels Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Fox News commentary.
President Joe was asked why he'd go to Arizona yet conveniently not visit the border, and wait till you hear his BS reply. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Starting to realize your small business is a little overwhelmed by the holiday rush? It's still not too late to get all of your shipping and mailing under control with Stamps.com. Sign up right now, and you'll be printing your own postage in just minutes with discounted USPS and UPS shipping rates. Just go to Stamps.com. Click the mic at the top of the page and use code BUSINESS for a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, code BUSINESS.
Despite Karine Jean-Pierre's best attempts to lie otherwise, Joe Biden hasn't visited the border as president not once. And hold on to your hat, folks, he has no plans to. Yet his handlers will schlep him to border states such as Arizona. But when asked by our very own Peter Ducey why he'd go to Arizona and not visit the overrun, invaded, inundated, totally insecure border, Joe replied, "There are more important things going on." There you have it. Our commander-in-chief, who is constitutionally and dutifully sworn to protect and defend our nation from threats, foreign and domestic, doesn't feel our wide-open human and drug-trafficked southern border is a top issue. But Republicans, we can only blame ourselves for this because we as a party failed to make the border a top issue in the November midterms. Why is it Donald Trump is the only one who's able to get Americans concerned about our border security? It's unacceptable. We must do better. I'm Tommy Lahren.
The dictatorial lockdown we're seeing in China.
News, analysis, opinion.
We support the right of people everywhere to peacefully protest.
This election is more than Herschel Walker.
The Respect for Marriage Act to pass that vote in the Senate.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Anybody want some free stuff?
Sure. I like free stuff.
Not you two.
Oh, jeez, man.
But NewstalkSTL.com. You can register to be part of our conservative Christmas giveaway, and we've been doing that all week. We're going to keep doing it through next week too, I think. But at 8, right around 8:20, so 1 hour from right now, we're going to announce the latest conservative Christmas giveaway winner right here on News Talk STL. And really, that's all it is. Just put your name in the hat. We just do that through the website. Put your name in the hat. We draw names, and then we announce that you won, and then we get in touch with you and say, where do you want us to send your stuff? And that's really it. That's what we do.
Yeah, so you don't have to call like when we ask you to. You just sign up, and you can still sign up too.
And yeah, you can still sign up, and you can still call us too.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to,
yeah,
we want to talk to you.
If you want
hi.
to, yeah,
That's nice.
But you don't have to do that in order to win. All right, 7:24 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer there and Ken Williams there. A lot of headlines that I think are confusing to those of us who are not lawyers. I actually texted Susie Moore this morning, and I'm doing prep on the show, knowing that she's nowhere near awake yet. I'm like, okay, this is what she's going to wake up to as a text from me.
Mm-hmm.
But the headlines are the Trump organization convicted of multiple tax fraud charges.
Right.
And I thought, wait a minute, the organization, the company, not an individual, but the company. So I texted Susie. I said, does this make sense? Is this like a civil lawsuit? And they keep saying convicted of tax crimes. I said, or is this criminal? Well, it actually was a criminal case brought against the Trump organization. That's the name of the entity, is the Trump organization. So to try to clarify it a little bit here, is we've got Fox News' Gernal Scott kind of explaining what happened.
Trump Organization attorneys and the former president himself in a statement both say the company committed no crime. They say it was about Alan Weisselberg and the Trump CFO's personal fraud. They will appeal. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg said the case, at its core, was simple.
This was a case about lying and cheating, false documents to the end of evading taxes for the benefit of individuals and the corporations.
Organization lawyers continue to say the former president and his family knew nothing of Weisselberg's actions. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Okay, so Susie replied back, and she let me know that, no, you actually can charge a company with criminal offenses.
Sure.
And so given these convictions, there could be about, looks like about $1.6 million in fines. Is that something that could be, assuming the appeal doesn't work? Here's the thing, is that it's important to note that Donald Trump personally was not a criminal defendant here. This was against the company itself. Donald Trump calls it a witch hunt, among some other things. $1.6 million for the Trump organization is not much.
No, not at all. Well, and my question is it actually, did the company actually evade that much in taxes, or was it the personal taxes of the individual? And I think that's what's that question, right?
And that's the thing. I mean, that's kind of the way I understand, is that the fine could be up to this because that's what they're saying is, was cost the government.
I guess. I don't know. It's really in the weeds because the thing is, tax laws are really weird and complicated. So, I don't think anybody outside of the courtroom is qualified to make a determination as to whether or not this was a good or bad decision.
Yeah, I mean, they are criminal convictions. There's like 15 charges that a guilty verdict came back on. So how about this? Does this affect any of the dynamics of the presidential race?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think anybody who's a Trump fan or at least Trump adjacent, I guess, in their politics is going to regard this as a disqualifier. And everybody who is jumping for joy at the conviction right now, they were never going to vote for Trump to begin with.
I agree 100%. So how about this question then? Because Donald Trump says that the company is going to appeal, which they've got a right to do. I don't know if that's wise. Here's why I say that.
Okay.
I say that because all it does is make it that much easier to keep the words conviction and tax fraud in the headlines when this is so confusing and so many people don't understand that it was against a business entity versus an individual. So I don't
happen
know
to share the same name.
Yeah, I mean, he owns it.
I'm just saying he puts his name on everything. So yeah,
I don't know that from a campaign perspective that it's worth it to appeal versus just pay the stinking fine and then say that it was politically motivated and do it that way. I don't know if it makes any sense politically to appeal.
This is why people paid you for your political advice, because that's actually really, really good advice. Because the idea is like, okay, well, would you rather pay the fine and just be done with it, and so it goes away out of the news, or continue to pay legal fees and have it constantly be in your face in the news while you're trying to run a political campaign? So I think you're right in this case. I mean, these situations, especially political situations, are rarely ones in which you're looking at that. Well, what's the right thing? I mean, not to say that it's wrong necessarily, but just what is the most just thing? It's like, well, we are not guilty of this thing, and we're going to fight it. Maybe the right thing in your mind, but politically, it's not the right thing because you're going to be hurting your cause. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
I got into the conversation later. I was talking to Jermaine McNabb and just saying hi.
Hello.
She called.
Yeah.
And she likes the show. So
great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Very
Thanks
much.
for listening.
Yeah, I mean, so the prosecutors in the case say that this was basically executive decisions all the way up the board, and everybody knew about it, and they were signing off on it, and that's I wasn't in the courtroom. I don't know. I think it's weird that tax fraud cases are criminally charged against a company.
That is weird to me.
I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but it's hard to think that politics were not involved. But if there's tax fraud, there's tax fraud. But
it may be a matter of standing in that the government does the government charge people civilly? Or can they? Or
they can sue you.
Okay, yeah. I'm just wondering if it's just a matter of, well, the government's bringing the suit, so it falls into the criminal courts kind of automatically. A
civil suit and a criminal, those are going to be two different things.
Well, certainly.
A civil thing is like you were trying to just get back we're trying to get back whatever it was that was taken, or you're doing something we want you to be ordered to stop. In this case, they're saying laws were broken. We are charging an entire entity, which that's what I was confused about. So I appreciate Susie sending me these notes and like, no, you can charge a business or a corporation with crimes as opposed to an individual, because the guy, the CFO that was there, apparently he had a bunch of weird stuff with his personal taxes too.
Yeah.
Well, as unusual as it might be, I mean, if it has to do with Trump in New York, I would not put it past anything.
See, and that's why I say I don't think this affects anything in 2024.
Yeah,
no.
The people who like Trump, are going to, dismiss this, and the people who hate Trump hated him to start with.
And they're going to find something else. It's not,
It was a jury of Manhattanites who did this.
Right.
I mean, and it was a Manhattanite who decided to make the charges. So it is what it is.
Here's the thing: is if they really think Donald Trump engaged in tax fraud, they would charge Donald Trump.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
now the headlines will say Donald Trump. But,
yeah. I mean, it says Trump Organization.
Right. Which is the
technically
name
is correct
of the organization.
Right.
But Yeah, you're getting it on you.
Yeah, precisely. All right, 314-912-1019. Speaking of convictions, ooh, boy, some St. Louis City former politicians getting the book thrown at them by a judge. I'm actually surprised about this. I'll tell you what the sentences were for 3 of the former politicians now completely disgraced and what's going to happen. They go into jail, folks. I mean, like, for real. I'll tell you about it at 7:35 at 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Listen anytime. It happens anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news.
With the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
From the Newstalk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. One person died and another was injured when a crane overturned at the Phillips 66 refinery in Wood River, Illinois late Tuesday morning. An investigation into the case of the incident is underway and OSHA has been contacted and is on scene. A 43-year-old man is facing charges after allegedly threatening to attack Northwest High School in Jefferson County. The man was heard on December 5th saying he was going to blow up and shoot up the school upon his release from Highland Behavioral Health Center, where he was a patient. Extra patrols were implemented on the school's campus. Steve's Hot Dogs is looking for a statue of Yoda that was stolen from outside the South City restaurant. In a post on social media, the restaurant says a suspect was captured on surveillance video using bolt cutters to cut off a chain and steal the Yoda. The theft happened around 3 a.m. Tuesday. The Stanley Cup made a stop on Monday at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge in the Central West End. It was all part of NHL's Hockey Fights Cancer initiative, which the Blues celebrated last week. Hockey Fights Cancer has raised more than $32 million for cancer research so far. And in sports, University of Las Vegas hired former Missouri football coach Barry Odom on Tuesday for the same position. He coached the Tigers from 2016 to 2019, going 25-25 with 2 bowl appearances. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We still have a closure on Bryan Road and Mexico Road. We had a bad crash there earlier this morning. Now that's a police investigation. 270 westbound at West Florissant. We already have the right lane closed for construction work this morning. That is back to Old Halls Ferry. About a 5-minute delay. 55 north, not horrible. Add about 3 minutes to your commute running up through Weber and Virginia. 270 north, add 4 minutes between 44 and Manchester. And watch out for a stalled tractor trailer in the right lane, 44 eastbound past 270. I'm Joe Sonderman. This report sponsored by Blindster.com from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another foggy start this morning. Mostly outside of the metro areas is where you're going to find the dense stuff, and there's also a dense fog advisory outside of the metro areas. Temperatures will be in the low 40s this morning with a high today, a little warmer, 51 degrees under mainly cloudy skies and a mainly dry day. But the rain chance returns tomorrow. In fact, late tonight through the first part of tomorrow with temperatures in the 40s. It will be a wet day. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Severe start to the flu season. Get the new COVID vaccine. Get the flu shot.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Riot police cracking down across China.
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
At 7:50, I know it's it's not what a radio consultant would tell me to do, but I think it's a good time today to pause and actually remember Pearl Harbor. And I say remember, obviously I wasn't there 81 years ago.
Right.
But collectively we are forgetting because it's just getting to be longer and longer and longer and more generations away. So what some people read about in history books was something that historically was not that long ago. So I'm going to try to connect us with that at 7:50. And so if you got some veterans in your life or other people who are just passionate about that, send them a quick text. Let them know that we're doing this on News Talk STL. You can also find it on, we're on Rumble and Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else. So I'm Mike Ferguson. It's 7:38 at the moment. Gabe Pfeiffer's here. Ken Williams is here. Sentences handed down yesterday for 3 former politicians in St. Louis City. I was not expecting what that judge did.
Not at all.
Let's put it that way.
Pleasantly surprised, we'll say.
Really pleasantly surprised. So, former president of the Board of Aldermen, Lewis Reed, former alderman John Collins Muhammad, and Jeffrey Boyd were all caught in a sting operation by the feds. They were all caught, as you know, taking bribes, to abuse their office and hand out goodies and make sure things got done. And it just cost some money here and there. But what happened with, I don't know why that wire's doing that. But we expected that there would be some kind of negotiation. They pled guilty to all the charges. And I thought there would be some kind of reduced sentence because you got them, put them in jail. You're going to hurt their career. You're going to hurt their money-making ability. You're going to send the message. I did not expect for Lewis Reed and John Collins Muhammad each to be sentenced to 45 months in prison.
That's amazing. I was not expecting that. Like, that's huge.
45 months.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
That's what that is.
Lewis Reed's also ordered to pay back $18,500, the money he took in bribes.
Mm-hmm.
And John Collins Muhammad ordered to pay back $19,500. Jeffrey Boyd was sentenced to 36 months in prison. He's got to pay back $23,000 in his fines. I don't know when their sentences start, when they're going to actually go behind bars, but they're actually going behind bars for a long time. Now, are they going to serve the full 45 months or 36 months? No, they're not going to do that.
There's no way that happens.
You get credit for like good behavior, and a prison year isn't necessarily the same as a calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are going to be in for, they're going to be in for a couple or a few years.
Good behavior, they're in there for bad behavior.
Right. That's the irony of it all. That's the irony of it all.
Yeah.
But here's what surprised me about that is even though they were caught red-handed and as indignant, rightfully, as we get when it comes to public corruption, you were chosen by the people of your community to oversee government, to oversee money, to protect people's rights, to try to help your community. And not only did you profit off of it, but you made helping people in your community contingent upon putting money in your pocket. That's what's so angering about this kind of corruption. Given all of that, the reason I was so surprised is we still often have a mindset that, you know what, they were in this office. They were, they're kind of a political elite. We kind of take it easy on them, whereas you wouldn't do that if somebody was caught, doing something just as bad, embezzling from a nonprofit or embezzling from a church or something like that. But because they were elected officials, we tend to take it easy on them. And I say we, I mean just like society. I'm glad to see that the books are kind of thrown at them.
Yeah, I just always wonder why. Why do we have leniency on our politicians when they're the ones where actually should be holding to a higher bar?
That's a fair question.
That's exactly where my mind was going, because we do exactly the opposite. I think what we should do, where we give people credit for quote unquote serving when they wield so much power in those positions, as opposed to we hold them more accountable because of how much power they wield in those positions. It's like, no, but they were doing a good job up until this thing. It's like, you know what? That's the problem. It's
right.
like they were basically hiding until they could do something really nefarious with their power, and we need to squash that bullcrap immediately and with prejudice.
But he was trying to give you CPR after he ran you over with a car, so give him some credit.
Right.
You get none credit.
I just hope it has a chilling effect to any other politicians who are thinking that they might be able to get away with something they shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because think about it this way: does it work that way in any other, area in life? Like if you cheated on only one question on a 100-question test, your teacher would no, your whole test is a 0. You don't get credit for the 99 other questions that you answered.
That's the way it was. That's the way it was at my school.
That's the way it was in my school, right? Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well,
let me qualify.
I learned one time that's the case.
Let me qualify one. But let me qualify a little bit with that. If you had something that was like a lapse in judgment or an accidental thing or something like that. So let's go to, some case in a nonprofit or even in a government setting, in a political setting.
You put the number in the wrong place. And
you put the number in the wrong place. Or, I didn't realize that it was, there are areas where, in 10 matters, this was cold-blooded corruption.
Yes.
That's the difference here.
Yes.
This was cold-blooded, blatant, explicit pay-to-play. You are going to pay me to do what government should be doing because I can hold it up if I want. And if you pay me, then I'm going to go ahead and make sure it happens.
Well, didn't Reed trip and fall into that bag of money?
Yeah, that's right. He was just on his way.
Accident.
He was on his way from church to the orphanage,
and he tripped.
And he tripped into a bag of money. He was like, "Oh, what's this doing here?" And some guy came out and was like,
"You gotta take some. I'll tell.
Take the money and give me what I want." And it's like, "Oh no, I had no choice." No, that's not how it works. That's how you went out and sought the most nefarious way possible to make your extra $20K or whatever the heck it was.
Was it worth it?
And yeah, exactly. The real question is, was it worth it?
Hopefully it's not worth it. Now, The thing is that sometimes what'll happen is they'll come out and they'll get put on boards or they'll be taken care of, in the political community somehow, probably,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
but nowhere near what they could have been otherwise. When it comes to this sort of thing, does it send a message? Let's hope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me put it does send a message. Will that message be heard in City Hall after, decades of a culture of corruption, and not just in St. Louis? The wink and the nod, we know how things work around here. You just got to do it. That happens everywhere, not just across the country, but across the world, because we are inherently corrupt as humanity. There are people who get into running for office and public service for the right reasons, and tragically, there are people, Republican and Democrat alike, who just get corrupted along the process. Sometimes it's a crime of opportunity. Sometimes it's peer pressure. Hey, man, this is just how it works. You're going to do this anyway. You might as well get something, for yourself along the way. Or there's other people who just see that it can be done and they just change their mind because they start to feel the godlike power that too many public officials think that they have.
And what do you think about the possibility, Mike, of them, flipping on somebody else? So that's why they gave them these sentences really quick, in hopes that they think about it, and maybe jump on someone else and say that they were involved.
Well, it was interesting because in the sort of press availability post-sentencing, the federal prosecutors were asked, "Does this close the case?" They would not say. They didn't say yes. They
telling.
didn't say no.
That means something.
Yeah,
I think my experience of many, many years in this business, much of it spent back in the days I used to be a journalist. That's how I would read it. I can put it that way. That's exactly how it would, because you know what? The federal prosecutor can always send a letter at a parole hearing, they cooperated in these other cases.
Yeah.
So it's been done before.
I love it.
81 years ago, a tragedy struck when Pearl Harbor was bombed, and there aren't a whole lot of folks still around who were there or remember it, but we are going to pay tribute to it just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Bryan Road remains shut down at Mexico Road. That's been the case much of the morning due to a crash. 270 westbound, about 3 minutes. Add that to your commute as you head through West Florissant. They've got the right lane closed for construction work already. 55 north, add about 2 minutes. Weber to Virginia. 270 north, add 6 minutes. Gravel up to Manchester's busy pockets. 6440 westbound, Clayton Skinker to Big Bend is just sort of crowded. And watch out for a stalled tractor trailer in the right lane, 44 eastbound past 270. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. This is Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Wednesday, we will talk to the head of the Donald Trump 2024 campaign, Dick Morris, about the current Congress spending like drunken sailors. But the drunken sailors spent their own money.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance. Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Katie. Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Okay, so 8:05 we're having a conversation about, development and tax increment financing, but don't think that this is going to be one of those things where your eyes glaze over and it's just a bunch of numbers. It's not. Going to be an unusual conversation because conservative talk station like NewstalkSTL, we've got the president of the St. Louis County NAACP going to be on the show, John Bowman, because I think that their objection to what's happening at Crestwood right now is actually right. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, Gabe, that we're not going to agree with the NAACP on politically.
Absolutely.
I think they've got a real big point on this one. Crestwood even is swinging back at the NAACP.
Really?
Over this. Yeah, it's really interesting. So yes, it is about money and taxes and corporate welfare and all that sort of thing, but it's about more than that. I mean, you've got the NAACP and the Show Me Institute both looking at this kind of the same way.
Yes.
In a way. I mean, there's some areas where the NAACP has additional things they're upset about.
They're coming at it from a little different places.
They're coming at it from different perspectives, but they're both saying this is really not a good deal for taxpayers on it. So we're gonna talk about that at 8:05. 7:52 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. 81 years ago today, the Japanese military bombed Pearl Harbor, sunk many of our ships. 3,500 American lives were taken 81 years ago today. Obviously, this is, as we all know, what brought us into World War II. You want to hear a little interesting tidbit of history? The United States Navy, by the end of World War II, had identified every single ship that the Japanese military used in the attack on Pearl Harbor, aircraft carriers and others, sunk every one of them by the end of the war. They not only fought to win the war, but they hunted those who attacked the United States.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. But I wanted to mention this, one, because we're getting worse and worse in this country about remembering these moments in history collectively, because it is so long ago. I mean, to somebody in high school right now who's 15 years old, this is ancient history to them.
Yeah. They don't even remember 9/11.
No, they don't remember.
Right?
No, I mean, they look at it the same way that you would look at, Thomas Jefferson, writing the Declaration of Independence, or George Washington commanding the military at, wherever. I mean, so
Gettysburg Address.
Gettysburg Address. That's how they look at that. This is what's in their history book. And while we do have video of this, we do have pictures of this, I think for so many people, what we have is relegating this to the pages of a history book.
Yeah.
As opposed to connecting with this. So the following day, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt gave an address to the nation, and I think it's timely today and a good way to remember.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. The United States was at peace with that nation. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. I regret to tell you that very many American lives have been lost. As Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy, I have directed that all measures be taken for our defense, but always will our whole nation remember the character of the onslaught against us. Hostilities exist. There is no blinking at the fact that our people, our territory, and our interests are in grave danger. With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
Why is it important to stay connected to those moments in history long before we were ever born.
I think it gives context to the world that we live in right now. It tells us, I mean, knowing where you come from gives information about where you are, and it should help inform about where you ought to go in the future. So our past is very, very important, and I really, really wish there would be a better emphasis on learning true history, on understanding true history in this country, because right now it feels as though our kids are lost in their identity about who and what we are as a nation right now, and their visions for the future are shaped by complete misinformation, fraud, and utopianism. And it would all look very, very different if we had an understanding about where we came from. Pearl Harbor is one of those defining moments in American history in particular, and I would say world history.
Oh yeah,
especially for today, and it's shaped a lot of what you see.
And I think a lot of the things that we've done well in World War II, and then it gives us pride, and that pride is what I think sustains us as patriots in this country.
Mm-hmm.
The United States Army assembled that audio to give credit where credit is due. But
Nice.
I saw that, and I'm thinking we've just got to put that on there because we cannot collectively forget, even those of us who weren't there to remember. All right, back to local, state, national news and your opinions on all of it and what's happening just ahead. We'll start that around 8:04 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, they don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable-rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Are you the type of person who loves their community and wants it to be the best it can be? Now it's easier than ever to do your part. Go to recyclemo.com to see just how easy it is to recycle the right way. Or if you already recycle and want to be as efficient as possible, recyclemo.com can tell you what should and should not be recycled in your area. Become part of the clean recycling movement today. It's the right thing to do. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The outcome of the Georgia runoff means that Democrats will hold a 51-49 majority in the Senate, making it easier for them to advance the Biden agenda. Incumbent Raphael Warnock pulling off a narrow win in yesterday's contest.
Warnock, who was the senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, defeated former professional football player Herschel Walker, who was backed by former President Trump. The race went to a runoff last month after neither candidate was able to garner over 50% of the vote on Election Day. This is the second Senate race Warnock has won in less than 2 years. He defeated then-Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler in a special election that also went to a runoff in January of 2021. Tuesday's victory means he will be able to serve a full 6-year term before facing his next election. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Encouraging news for North Carolina utility customers still without electricity since last weekend when gunfire disabled a couple of utility substations in Moore County. Duke Energy now expects to have all of the lights back on by the end of the day. In a victory for Republicans,
the COVID-19 vaccine mandate for members of the U.S. military would be rescinded under the annual defense bill heading for a vote this week in Congress. It will end a policy that helped ensure the vast majority of troops were vaccinated, but also raised concerns that it harmed recruitment and retention. Republicans, emboldened by their new House majority next year, have pushed the effort in negotiations. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy personally lobbied President Joe Biden in a meeting last week to roll back the mandate. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Loudoun County, Virginia school superintendent's been fired after a grand jury issued a scathing report about the handling of a predatory transgender student accused of sexually assaulting female classmates at 2 different high schools last year. Dow futures down 65. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We're picking up some heavier delays. 270 westbound West Florissant to Old Halls Ferry. That is about a 6-minute delay through the construction. 55 north Germania up through Virginia, add 4 minutes. 270 north, 55 up through Manchester, add 9 minutes. 5564 westbound approaching the Poplar Street Bridge, add 5 minutes. We had an earlier incident on 5570 at 203. That has been cleared. 141 northbound at I-64. It looks like they cleared a crash, but we were pretty backed up to about Clayton Road. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another foggy start this morning. Mostly outside of the metro areas is where you're going to find the dense stuff, and there's also a dense fog advisory outside of the metro areas. Temperatures will be in the low 40s this morning with a high today, a little warmer, 51 degrees under mainly cloudy skies and a mainly dry day. But the rain chance returns tomorrow. In fact, late tonight through the first part of tomorrow with temperatures in the 40s. It will be a wet day. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
We were there when our nation called us to serve. We were there to write the original GI Bill and get it signed into law. When a community found itself in the middle of a natural disaster. When tragedy struck at a local school. For veterans who suffered from toxic exposure and needed a voice on Capitol Hill. And we're still serving as part of the American Legion. For more than 100 years, veterans have been strengthening our nation through the American Legion. Through programs that help our nation's youth become tomorrow's leaders. By keeping the spirit of our forefathers alive and well. And by helping veterans receive the benefits they earned through their service. The American Legion will be there for the next 100 years. Learn more about how we're helping in your community at legion.org.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hi, I'm Richard Petty. I may be champion on the racetrack, but what I'm most proud of is being a champion of veterans like Chris Hull. Chris was injured while serving in the Army.
Because of the Paralyzed Veterans of America, I was able to get the health care and benefits I need. And now I live an active life. I currently play wheelchair rugby for the only all-veteran team in the country and mentor other veterans with disabilities when I can.
More than 44,000 veterans live with spinal cord injuries and disease. Paralyzed Veterans of America help these veterans secure health care, benefits, and jobs.
The programs and services at the Paralyzed Veterans of America, like adaptive sports, have changed my life. After my injury, I never thought I'd play sports, travel the world, or have so many people supporting me. Paralyzed Veterans of America has given me a support system for life.
To learn how you can join me and be a champion for veterans like Chris, visit pva.org/champions.
There is no shortage of people who are willing to put your house on the market and hope that somebody sees it, clicks on it, goes and takes a look at it, buys it, and then they make a commission without really doing as much work as they could have. You don't want that type of person working and representing your family. You want Rodney and Jen on the job. Mike Ferguson here for the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. Here's what I mean by that. There are a lot of real estate agents around St. Louis, and there are a lot of very talented ones and then some good ones. But there's nobody like Rodney and Jen. I'm telling you, you talk to them for a few minutes, and you're going to realize that these folks are different, not just because they're very good at what they do, they're very knowledgeable about the market, they're very good people, but because of their passion for fighting for your family. They're part of Berkshire Hathaway, but they are a family-owned and run business right here in St. Louis, and they've got a passion for fighting for your family. You're selling a home, they've got so many pre-approved buyers, they guarantee that you're going to get an offer. You're looking to buy a home, then you'd better have somebody on your side to get you the best dollar-for-dollar value possible. Call 314-810-SOLD and just talk to Rodney and Jen. Tell them your situation. You're going to learn very quickly. These are the kind of people that I want to do business with. I want the Wallner Home Selling Team fighting for my family. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Mike Ferguson.
Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I love Jesus. He was my superhero.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Twitter is like being able to read every toilet wall in the world.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin
One of the things that local politicians love and local media love, they love those ribbon cuttings. You've noticed that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get your picture taken,
Oh,
the
yeah.
big, huge thing of scissors with the big thing of tape right
Where
there.
do we even get the giant scissors?
I don't
What
know.
is that?
It's like Walmart supersized or something like that. But the thing is that tape that they're cutting is really, 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 really expensive, and oftentimes taxpayers help pay for it.
Mm.
That's through something called tax increment financing, which I suspect most people who are listening right now are aware of what that is. I'm not a big fan myself because I think it's corporate welfare.
Yeah.
Mike Ferguson here, got Gabe Pfeiffer here, got Ken Williams here. Well, here's the thing. Tax increment financing, just to kind of lay the groundwork for when this was first invented, the idea is that you go into areas that are left behind economically. So you're talking about, urban cores. You could talk about some rural areas where the town died out and the business moved away, that kind of thing. What tax increment financing has become is, hey, I'd like to build something in a very nice, vibrant area like, I don't know, St. Louis County. But I really want taxpayers to take some of the load off of us and our investment. And that's what it's become. And this has created kind of a dust up over the old Crestwood Mall. Deerberg's is putting in a grocery store there. There's other development that's going in to replace the mall. And we're joined now by John Bowman, who's the president of the St. Louis County NAACP. And John, first of all, appreciate you being on the program. So let's start with laying the groundwork. Deerberg's wants to build a grocery store in Crestwood. Crestwood's obviously a nice, vibrant market for Deerberg's. That makes a lot of sense. So what's the problem with the deal that they made, and what is it that's got you and the NAACP, kind of calling foul on this?
Well, I have to tell you, you actually laid out the groundwork on this conversation by explaining exactly what TIFs were designed for. They were an economic development tool for underserved communities to have an opportunity to rebound and develop. So here's what happened, though. The city approved a redevelopment plan in 2016 for 49 acres of the former Crestwood Mall using taxpayer dollars through a TIF. So that plan consisted of commercial spaces and multifamily residences. And the city developers did not move forward with that development. Fast forward to 2021, and Dearborn's put together a completely new development plan and started the process to have that development plan approved. But when I and the NAACP met with the city to voice our objections to using public dollars to build yet another grocery store, a luxury grocery store across the street from another luxury grocery store, the city would not allow me to speak in the public hearing. It was during the pandemic, so the meeting was virtually. As soon as they got to the public hearing portion, the mayor decided to cancel the hearing totally. So in other words, they just silenced the voice of not only me, but the community as well. Then they altered the previously approved plan in 2016 to match the 2021 Dearborn's plan that was canceled. And then the city, figured they could avoid the NAACP again and not allow me to voice my objections, but I actually attended the September meeting. Now, here's the crux of this. The revised 2016 plan now calls for construction of a Dearborn's grocery store, but it also allows McBride Homes to construct a neighborhood of single-family homes on 23 of the 49 acres. However, the McBride portion of the development would not receive any taxpayer funding. Now, I had the privilege of knowing that when they had their open house, they had lines around the corner of people trying to purchase those properties, and McBride is not using any TIF money to get that done. So this is in no way the original 2016 plan, which is what Dearborn is using to receive public tax dollars. In other words, the taxpayer funding approved in 2016 was supposed to go to 49 acres of development, but now that money will go towards developing only 26 acres, which includes the Dearborn's grocery store, despite the fact that there are a large number of grocery stores in Crestwood already. There are a number of issues that has happened that I think needs to be pointed out. The NAACP, we oppose this development because it diverts taxpayer dollars that would otherwise go to policing, schools, fire districts, and other taxing districts, and it gives those dollars to Dearborn and its developers for the purpose of building yet another luxury grocery store across the street from another luxury grocery store in Crestwood, which is far from blighted. And I guess, the question could be, how do I know it's not blighted? It's because most of the real estate that was previously occupied in the Crestwood Mall is not a part of the new TIF plan that this developer has refused to bring to the County TIF Commission. McBride and Sons, as I said, is not included in this particular plan. So the cities continue to use a long-standing practice of diverting money from, policing, school districts, fire districts, and other taxing districts for the development of an area that is not blighted, where now you and I both know St. Louis County has countless truly blighted areas that continue to be shunned by developers and retailers at the expense of our children, particularly where African-American families struggle to have investments and services invested in our area. So the St. Louis County and NAACP, we will continue our opposition of this unneeded TIF, and it's time for the county as a whole and all of our municipalities to work together to stop these developers and retailers' cash grabs and focus on equitably addressing the real blight that exists in our county for all citizens. TIF should not be reserved. They should be reserved for blight areas, but not luxury grocery stores, because unfortunately, I service and represent individuals, some seniors, who find themselves having to drive 10 miles sometimes just to get quality food. And so this is unnecessarily using taxpayer dollars for this project, and they're trying to use loopholes. And on top of that, they have the audacity that when I voiced the objection on behalf of the NAACP about this project, 2 days later, I get a letter that the city of Crestwood is suing me. So they really are using a tactic that I've never seen before that will not work. In the words of the mayor, where he called our lawsuit frivolous, which obviously the judge disagreed because they have given us a court date. This particular lawsuit is truly frivolous and is not a good look for what we call good corporate citizens.
Good morning, John. Gabe Pfeiffer here. What do you hope to accomplish with the lawsuit? If you win, what are you looking to get?
Hey, several things here. I want a spotlight put on this continuation of giving rich people more money unnecessarily just because you can is, one, not good for not only St. Louis County, but St. Louis City and other areas, which it seems like stores like Dearborn's have chosen to boycott. There's not going to create any new customers by putting another grocery store across the street from another grocery store. There are only so many people in the St. Louis area. The population has not all of a sudden exploded. So we find it more interesting, if you're going to use these economic development tools, make sure you're getting a real return on the investment through either creation of good paying jobs that will create more tax revenue or some other means. But the way they're being used now, it's like you're just getting profit before you even sell a loaf of bread. So I hope that the outcome will be the judge will decide they can move forward with this still if they want to build it just without taxpayers' money.
All right, John Bowman from the NAACP of St. Louis County. John, we're out of time here, but somebody wants to get in touch. They want to talk to you about it or find out more of your work on that. What's the website or social media, or what's the best way to be in touch?
Yeah, they can email me at jbowman@naacpstlouiscounty.org. We do have a website, NAACP, www.naacp.org.
All right. Hey, John, appreciate you being on the program. We'll follow up here on the air in just a little bit.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Once again, John Bowman from the NAACP of St. Louis County. 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts on this? He's not wrong about this.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot that we're going to not agree with the NAACP on different policy issues, but he's right about this one.
I have thoughts on this.
Yeah, we'll get to it just ahead on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
On northbound 270, close to the Clayton Road overpass, we've got an incident blocking the right lane. Traffic jam back to I-44. 270 westbound, add 6 minutes to your commute headed into the work zone at West Florissant. 6455 westbound headed for the Poplar Street Bridge, add 3 minutes. That's thinning out. There were a couple of incidents in that vicinity. 6440 eastbound between McKnight and Big Bend just has some slow pockets. 70 westbound, little slowdown. Jennings Station towards Lucas and Hunt's possible. We've got an incident there. This report sponsored by Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and BluffCityOutdoors.com.
Buckle up, Buttercup. What's new, fresh, and definitely shaking up the airwaves?
Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge presents the Definitely Holly Show.
Hi, this is Holly, a conservative millennial, and I am proud to be the newest member of the News Talk STL family. Every Saturday, we tackle controversial and hot topics and what's going on in our local community.
The Definitely Holly Show.
This Saturday evening at 5
on News Talk STL. Brought to you by Hiatus Tequila. The Vic Porcelli Show.
I am a election denier because I don't think that 2020 was a free and fair election. And I get crap for that. But Stacey Abrams, the question was worded just like that. Was 2018 a free and fair election? She said no. Right. Why does she get to say it, but we don't get to say it?
because you're not a Democrat.
I don't want to be one of those.
No, I don't either, Vic.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
What is dementia? Is it the same as Alzheimer's? What is vascular dementia, Lewy body, FTD, TBI, and CTE? If someone has memory loss, does that mean they have dementia? Millions of Americans ask these questions every day. I did too, and I learned. My wife Ginny developed dementia. I didn't know what to do or what was coming next. I'm Kevin Jameson, volunteer and president of the Dementia Society of America. I'm excited to offer you a free guide to understanding dementia. It's filled with facts about dementia, care planning, how doctors can help, and ways to keep your brain as healthy as possible. The Dementia Society of America is a national nonprofit, and we're ready to answer your questions. You want to live life to the fullest. I know that. Ginny did too, and I'm confident that we can help. Get your copy of the guide. Go to 1-800-DEMENTIA.org or call 1-800-DEMENTIA. Thank you.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Fox News commentary.
President Joe was asked why he'd go to Arizona yet conveniently not visit the border, and wait till you hear his BS reply. I'm Tommy Lahren, more next.
Starting to realize your small business is a little overwhelmed by the holiday rush? It's still not too late to get all of your shipping and mailing under control with Stamps.com. Sign up right now, and you'll be printing your own postage in just minutes with discounted USPS and UPS shipping rates. Just go to Stamps.com. Click the mic at the top of the page and use code BUSINESS for a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, code BUSINESS.
Like Karine Jean-Pierre's best attempts to lie otherwise, Joe Biden hasn't visited the border as president not once. And hold on to your hat, folks, he has no plans to. Yet his handlers will schlep him to border states such as Arizona. But when asked by our very own Peter Doocy why he'd go to Arizona and not visit the overrun, invaded, inundated, totally insecure border, Joe replied, "There are more important things going on." There you have it. Our commander-in-chief, who is constitutionally and dutifully sworn to protect and defend our nation from threats, foreign and domestic, doesn't feel our wide-open human and drug-trafficked southern border is a top issue. But Republicans, we can only blame ourselves for this because we as a party failed to make the border a top issue in the November midterms. Why is it Donald Trump is the only one who's able to get Americans concerned about our border security? It's unacceptable. We must do better. I'm Tommy Lahren.
This is News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, and we're proud to be the official winter weather source for News Talk STL. The First Alert Weather Team is working hard to keep you ahead of the big weather changes and help you plan your day. So stay connected this winter with Channel 4 and News Talk STL.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
All right, here we've got, I think, maybe a couple wrap-up thoughts on that conversation with John Bowman from the NAACP here that we'll get to. If you have any thoughts on their objection to the Crestwood TIF, let's hear it. 1019-941 News Talk STL, 314-912-1019. Also have a few news stories to go over to bring you up to date on. But more importantly than that, we got a winner.
Yeah, we do.
We got a winner.
Somebody got it.
That's right. Conservative Christmas, the winner for today for this program. Now, if you don't win right now, then you might win when Vic is on the air.
Yes.
And if you don't win then, you might win when Tony Colombo's on the air.
Mhm.
And if you don't win then, you might win when Tim Jones and Chris Arps are on the air, because we're all giving away prizes throughout the day, and then we're going to do it all over again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So if you're not registered yet for the Conservative Christmas giveaway, just go to NewstalkSTL.com. But I want to say a thank you and a congratulations to Donna Coffey, who is going to receive a $25 gift card to Bluff City Outdoors.
Nice.
Way
All
to go,
right.
Donna. And Donna, you don't have to do anything. We will get in touch with you, and we will get your prize to you. So thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for registering, and congratulations, and hope it helps your Christmas and your holidays a little bit.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, before I get to kind of what we call the news roundup here, John Bowman was talking about the tax increment financing. The one thing that he said, and then he kind of doubled down on it, which I think was an excellent point, is that there are other grocery stores in that area nearby. That is really, really relevant to the conversation when you look at what tax increment financing is supposed to do.
Yeah, what's the point of this thing?
So what happens, and this is the 30-second thing. I used to be on a TIF commission, believe it or not. I actually voted to close a TIF at one point. It was great.
Nice.
But what happens is that the developers say, hey, I want to build this. I'm going to have all these jobs. Look at all this, tax revenue we're eventually going to have. And they usually want some kind of tax abatement up front, oftentimes. But what they'll do is they'll say, okay, so we're going to take this sales tax revenue or other tax revenue that this would normally go to, police, schools, fire, ambulance, libraries, whatever the district
All the
is
local
out there,
stuff.
all the local stuff. And instead, that's going to be funneled back to the businesses to help alleviate some of the risk and help pay them back for some of their upfront capital cost and their ongoing costs. So it's basically you're going to pay the taxes no matter what. And then some of it just goes back to the corporation. So if it's such a good deal to put a grocery store in Crestwood, which I think that it would be a good place to put a grocery store, great, put it there. Why are taxpayers paying for any of it, though? Now, he also mentioned, you've got North County, you've got North City, you've got all these other places where there are no grocery stores. Now, is it the government's job to make a business go there? I don't know. I mean, they're going to react to the market, but that's what these tools were made for, was to provide that enticement. We need this here. This is important for anchor development. It needs to be in the community. So we're willing to go on the hook for some of this as well. So when you put it in Crestwood, I mean, it's like saying, you know what, boy, I want to build a business in Ladue. But man, I just need taxpayers to cover some of this, and I can build my business. No.
Well, you would think that would be in the TIF regulation to say, okay, it needs to be in underfunded areas or in areas that are meeting plight, or if they're urban or rural that just aren't, that a business left, like you referred to earlier. Why isn't it in the actual regulation itself?
You would be shocked at what they declare blighted.
Really?
You would be shocked at what is often declared blighted. I one time remember a TIF case that I was covering where active, productive, profitable farmland was declared blighted so they could qualify for a TIF to build a whole bunch of strip malls.
No way. Oh, my gosh. How do you do that?
Okay, then let's get more specific.
Okay,
right.
you know what? Prison.
Yeah.
This is gonna be my response to almost everything now. It's like you guys dangled that 3 years, 3.5 years over those corrupt guys. You know what? Prison.
Okay, so if we need to build a prison, but we need to have a TIF district to build a prison. Okay.
Then we need a TIF.
But seriously, I mean, I can count. Gosh, within a 10-minute drive of my house, I've got 2 Schnucks, a Deerbergs, and 2 Walmarts. Okay, so we're fine out here. If somebody asks for a TIF from the city of Florissant or whatever to build another grocery store, I'm saying up yours, go elsewhere. Because
but they will. That's the thing. That's exactly it. They will.
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea of capitalism: high risk, high reward. Period.
Right.
They're not risking anything by building something and getting the money back for it. Basically.
Yeah. I mean, the entire point of TIF, as I understand it, was basically to reduce risk on actual risky ventures,
right?
Like going into rural or blighted urban areas. The whole point being that, you know what, I don't know. There's a lot of variables in developing in this particular area, and then the government will say, well, you know what, we really need that development to help this area. We will share that risk because we think it's worth it. That's kind of the idea, and yet we've turned it into this boondoggle for people who want to get rich people's money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying is that there's a difference in risk if you want to build anything. Could be retail, it could be services, could be an auto. There's a big difference in building it in town and country and building it in the Enright neighborhood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And so these have gotten out of control to the point where it's just assumed that, well, I'm going to use this as a leverage point and get as much as I can. If you're the developer, you try to get as much as you can.
Is this a state law issue? Do we need to be lobbying our...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll get Nick Schroer on the line here.
That's right.
I mean, you can't hold it totally against the company because they're taking full advantage of what they have.
Right.
Fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah.
Boy, have I got a bad idea for you, but if you give me taxpayer money, maybe it's not as a bad idea. I ripped that off from Patrick Chewy, formerly of the Show Me Institute as well. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. This is what's happening.
From Shanghai to Beijing, the Chinese are fed up.
The war in Ukraine is far from over.
News, analysis, opinion.
Extending the pause on student loan payments.
This is News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. More testing is being done within the Hazelwood School District looking for radioactive contaminants. The Hazelwood Central High School football field is one site. A district spokesperson confirmed this is being done out of an abundance of caution because a former employee made a report saying that soil from Jana Elementary may have been used to level the ground more than 25 years ago. Residents near Kimmswick, Missouri may have felt some shaking Tuesday night after a magnitude 2.5 earthquake was detected. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the earthquake's epicenter was about 2 miles east of Kimmswick at about 8:30 p.m. Renters and homeowners in Illinois who were affected by the July floods have until Thursday, December 22nd, to submit a FEMA disaster aid application. Illinois residents may apply for help online at disasterassistance.gov. U.S. Senator Roy Blunt said farewell to Washington yesterday. He is retiring after a political career just short of 50 years. His term ends in January. Blunt focused on working with others during his 20-minute speech, saying at one point that finding someone on the other side to work with produces the most lasting results. And in sports, the Blues beat the Islanders 7-4 in New York last night. Next up, the Blues welcome the Jets to Enterprise Center tomorrow night. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Still pretty heavy, 270 westbound approaching New Florissant. The right lane's closed for construction work already. That is about an 11-minute delay. 55 north, just add an extra minute or so coming up through Virginia and Gasconade. 270 north, still busy pockets. Approaching Big Bend up to Manchester. That's due to an earlier incident. The lanes have been open for a while. This report sponsored by Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another foggy start this morning. Mostly outside of the metro areas is where you're going to find the dense stuff, and there's also a dense fog advisory outside of the metro areas. Temperatures will be in the low 40s this morning with a high today. today, a little warmer, 51 degrees under mainly cloudy skies and a mainly dry day. But the rain chance returns tomorrow. In fact, late tonight through the first part of tomorrow, with temperatures in the 40s, it will be a wet day. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on Newstalk STL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up. So if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron foul. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
It's St. Louis's favorite nutcracker with performances December 16th through 23rd. A glorious holiday tradition. Tickets on sale now for St. Louis Ballet's The Nutcracker, 314-534-1111 or at metrotix.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
When somebody goes to jail, that's always a bad thing because something very bad has happened.
Yeah, it should be.
Yes. But having said that, sometimes there's that feeling of, ooh, justice finally happened.
Yes.
And that happened yesterday in St. Louis from federal court. It is 8:38. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Gabe Pfeiffer over there. It's Ken Williams over there. The website is newstalkstl.com. And if you have not checked us out, if you like the streaming, watching us on streaming, because I love the comments and the questions that we get on those, you can find us on Rumble. Matter of fact, just put us on your smart TV. Let's be your morning show. You can also find the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show on YouTube, and you can also find Vic's show and Tony's show and Chris and Tim's show on YouTube as well. And then, of course, Facebook, it's News Talk STL as well. So very quick look at sentences for 3 now disgraced former St. Louis City elected officials, former Board of Aldermen President Lewis Reed and former Alderman John Collins Muhammad. They each get over 3.5 years in prison. Former Alderman Jeffrey Boyd gets 3 years in prison, and that is for the bribery charges that they were caught red-handed by the feds. I mean, literally set up a sting, and they took it hook, line, and sinker. And so they're all going to prison. Now, I don't think they're all going to serve that many months in prison, but they also have to pay back the money that they took in bribes. And so that's a significant one. I really thought we'd be looking at like a 12 or 18-month thing, and they're out in 3.
Oh, yeah. I thought they'd be like suspended sentences and parole and all these supervised, I don't know, something or other. But, yeah, the fact that these guys are actually going to go someplace where there are bars and they have to wear a jumpsuit is exciting to me.
That, and when they get out, even if they get out on good behavior and shortened sentences, they're still going to have to face probation, too. And from what I understand, that's not all roses either.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys will still go into some sort of protection because they've entered the elite status, but likely their political ambitions are completely over. Their ability to, be in very high level jobs is over for the most part. I mean, some people make big comebacks, but I'll be really surprised after corruption charges. But they're not going to starve. Let's put it that way. But they're going to be living on prison food for a while. So messages sent by the feds, will it be heeded by City Hall, which has the culture of corruption. We'll find out. Time will tell.
I really hope it sticks.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I would rather be doing battle with them ideologically and on policy rather than dealing with corruption.
Yeah.
I'd rather have good people who disagree with me and let's win on the ideas because I think we're right and I think they're wrong. But when you've got just corruption, and that goes for conservatives too. I mean, there have been conservative corruption cases is the same way. So we should be able to win on ideas and good policy. All right, speaking of winning and losing, the last election of the 2022 midterms happened, and obviously it did not go, I'm sure you've heard, go the way of the Republicans. Democrats hold on to the seat in Georgia for the U.S. Senate. Aisha Hasney from Fox News has the update.
Herschel Walker was hoping that this would be his overtime win. Instead, he took that stage looking very disappointed and downcast as he made his concession speech.
We've had a tough journey, have we not? But one of the things I said is when they called the race, I said the numbers doesn't look like they're going to add up.
Senator Warnock taking the stage to accept victory just a short time after that.
You believe, as I do, that democracy is the political enactment of a spiritual idea.
Voter turnout here may have been the deciding factor in this race. More than 3 million people voted in this runoff, but a whopping 1.9 million voted early or by mail, and we know those earlies usually favor the Democrat.
It was closer than I thought it was going to be. But the bottom line is the Democrats now have 51 seats in the Senate. The Republicans have 49, and that is a one-seat pickup when it's all said and done for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, that's wild to me. That in the environment that we've seen, where the Democrats are clearly at fault for all of the horrible conditions that the country is currently suffering from, that they managed to do what has historically been, I think, impossible. Right? Has anybody gained ground in the legislature?
1934 was the last time something like this happened where they gained a Senate seat and gained a governorship. It was 1934.
Oh, my gosh. That's wild. That's wild to me.
Yeah.
No, I was going to make a comment. Chris Arps, our very own Chris Arps, he
I've heard of
sent
him.
a text. Yeah.
Who dat?
It has to do with our previous conversation with the gentleman going to jail. He said this was expected. Justice Department doesn't look kindly on public corruption, especially someone who was in leadership. You have to serve 85% of your sentence in the federal system. And he added, if white Senator Jeff Smith went to jail, these brothers were definitely going to jail.
Well, he's not wrong.
Jeff Smith came out and wrote a book that was really successful, and he actually made some money, but it's not worth going to jail over.
No.
On that. All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Chris.
thanks, Chris. We appreciate you listening to the morning show.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 Republican attorneys general, including Missouri's, are suing the Biden administration now, so taking action over the social media censorship.
Get them.
That have absolutely. And now this one's actually post-election, so it's not the Biden campaign that we've heard so much about from Tesla or from Twitter, and Elon Musk. This is about the Biden administration working with and pressuring social media companies to tamp down free speech and dissenting opinions during the COVID fear-mongering era. And Eric Schmidt was among those present at the deposition of Anthony Fauci, and he went on Jesse Waters' Primetime last night to give his take on that.
His daughter worked at Twitter. He said, I can't recall 174 times. This is coming from the guy who claimed to be the all-knowing, all-powerful Oz, right? Who was the science, according to him, but his memory lapsed when he was asked tough questions.
And of course,
I represent science.
Yeah, of course, Anthony Fauci says, I have nothing to hide.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Except for all the things you can't recall.
Except for all the things you suddenly
How many
can't
things he couldn't
remember.
recall?
174.
Yeah. That's a guy who's in charge.
So if you have a crap ton of time on your hands, Eric Schmidt has actually released the transcript of the entire deposition.
Got the receipts.
Yep. So if you want to read it, it's out there. It's like 370-some pages, almost 400 pages. There's a lot there. It is a big epic book is what it is, but I'm sure it's double spaced, so it's not that bad.
The damage he caused to Americans is amazing.
To the world, I would think.
I would say the world,
because there are a lot of countries that look to us and look to our healthcare system leadership for advice on these things. They would point to, well, the U.S. Health Department is doing X, Y, and Z, so we're going to take it even further. Australia, UK.
Oh yeah. Well, as much as I agree with that, I mean, we at least have control of what we can do with people here, but we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll walk away with his pension. He makes more money than any other official in the United States government.
Federal government's highest paid employee, Anthony Fauci.
Also, longest running? Wasn't
well,
he?
at least in the health,
Okay.
the CDC, and although he works for the infectious diseases, but I think when you look at all the medical federal bureaucracy, I think he's the longest serving one in that.
Yeah, Joe Biden and Feinstein have been there since 1776. So.
And they didn't learn anything from 1776.
No.
Yeah, still got that tri-corner hat, though.
All right, quick note. The Blues ended their 4-game losing streak. I was getting worried there again. They beat the Islanders last night in New York. Road trip continues with the Blues playing in Winnipeg tomorrow night. All right, 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts? I want to hear them right here. News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We're doing much better. All clear now northbound 270 north of Manchester where there was an earlier incident. It's just busy past there. 64 is thinning out eastbound. It's fine. Headed in towards Hanley. Just a little crowded. 270 westbound at New Florissant, though still some delays coming in from Old Halls Ferry. That is the construction work. They have the right lane closed. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Columbo and Katie.
It's another can't-miss show on Wednesday with Rodney Boyd at 2:20, Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire at 2:45, and we open up Close's Cabinet, talk to Mark Close at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
If you're concerned about the current market and the 40-year record high inflation that we're seeing, you're not alone.
Credit card usage skyrocketing and at record highs, savings rates plunging.
It's 100% certainty that you're in recession now.
The good news is, for decades, Steve All and his team have been helping people just like you protect and grow your income. And most importantly, not run out of money.
My clients that are currently sitting there on guaranteed incomes, they're not really worried about what's happening in the market. So they're more at peace because every month that paycheck comes in.
Call Steve today for your customized market protection plan. 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Hey, folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of 3 ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a U.S.-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega Watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You want corruption? This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
My wife and I were just watching a show last night. We're watching that Wednesday show. Have you seen that?
Oh, I haven't seen. I know about Wednesday.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Wednesday 'cause I don't have Netflix.
For those of you who are saying, "Well, yeah, today's Wednesday. Why are you?" Okay, no. It's a show based on the character Wednesday Addams as a high school like teenager, and it's crazy stuff going on. Funny, a little dark at the same time. I've enjoyed it so far. We're only 3 episodes in, but while we're sitting there watching, it's completely on. That's actually not what I was going to talk about. My daughter sends over some pictures. And yeah, she took like some selfies, and apparently there's an app out there that's kind of like an artificial intelligence artistic app. And she looked like a fairy in a fantasy Lord of the Rings type movie.
That's so cool.
And it was really funny. And so we're like, wow, that's really something. Looks like you're going to be a character in a period movie or something like that. And she took a bunch of pictures of me, I don't know, off Facebook or something, and sent me like 8 or 9 this last night. And so I woke up to these pictures of me looking like I'm in a, like I'm going off to battle in a medieval set movie. And I'm thinking it's funny because it makes me look a lot cooler and tougher than I actually am.
That's the best part of those things.
Oh, my goodness.
When you woke up and saw those, did you feel a little bit more energized?
I was thinking, who's that? And for those who are watching on, I'm going to show one to the camera up here on, let me see here, on Rumble or any of the streaming. Let me see here, which is the most. The one with I think the shield and the battle thing and the wings. I think is probably the most.
Yeah, that's the best cool one.
That may be the most
one.
ridiculous one. So if you're watching on Rumble right now, or Facebook right now, or YouTube right now, you're going to be able to see that right now. And it's kind of funny because I don't know which picture she used for that.
A little closer, Mike.
A little closer?
There you
go.
Closer.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
To the camera. So you're saying that it's ridiculous. There's like 9 of these things out there.
Lord Michael, the guardian of the forest.
Exactly.
Yeah, really. Also,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Oh, jeez. Hump day.
Hump day?
Yeah.
Man, you remembered that one.
Well,
that was last
no,
week and this
I
week
didn't,
too.
actually.
You were talking about Wednesday.
That's true, yeah.
And he pointed to me.
Okay.
I got you.
Got it. Yeah, there it is. Now, the funny thing is that my wife, her first reaction was, she goes, "Oh, that's a lot of fun. I'm going to get that app." And I went, "Wait a minute. Sometimes these apps like infect your phone with stuff. You got to be careful.
You got to be
if it's
real
like,
careful.
Download this app and all these free stuff you can do. There's a reason that it's free.
Yeah. Well, there's also the thing too where when you're submitting pictures, you're giving them permission to use those pictures,
Right.
however they want.
Yeah.
So those pictures are permanently now in their possession. Whatever picture was used to develop the map of your face, they own those now.
I don't know what they're going to do with that picture. Mike with battle armor and wings. I don't know what that's going to do.
You're going to sell your image on the dark web, the underground to something. I don't know what's going on down there, but
then they're going to sell it to a sucker because I just put it on Rumble.
If it's a really good app, I will pay for it so I can have the options. To opt out of things.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, these things when they're free online or something like that, and you got to submit. I'd rather have the software myself. So then, all that stuff runs locally. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I look sinister in this one. I'm going to put this up on streaming here.
Oh yeah. You're
okay. How's that look right there?
You got your schemy.
A little closer.
Schemy,
there you go.
Schemy fingers there.
I think that's sinister. So you can look up the show after we're on. It's going to be on Rumble and Facebook and everywhere as well. But I mean, it's kind of funny because I'm looking at this, Mike. I don't know how much time it takes to do these, but I woke up to like 9 of them.
Well, I think it's automatic because I think it's all based on kind of deep fake technology where it scans the important points on your face and then it maps them to similar points on the face that they're replacing. So all those images already exist with somebody else's face and it just kind of superimposes your features onto them.
Yeah.
That technology is wild.
Well, and that technology is so good now that at some point, and I read this in one of those technology like articles, and I don't read those a whole lot, but it caught my eye because some of the deep fake technology is getting so good on video in particular that it's rendering some video evidence sometimes questionable in court.
Yes.
Because you can make a fake security camera. You can make a fake anything in there. I mean, you can take, of course, one of the big concerns is that you take somebody's pictures, anybody's, and insert it onto like a dirty movie or something like that, and then you've got
happens all the time with celebrities right now.
Yeah, so that sort of thing. But it's apparently so seamless that it looks very, very real.
Yeah.
So I mean, imagine that happening to somebody in your household, or happening to you or something like that. I mean, that's
man.
awful. But can you also imagine like somebody's caught red-handed and there's video evidence of it, but we know that deepfake stuff is so prevalent that you just don't know that you can trust video anymore.
Yeah, got to get your alibis together, man.
Right.
It's like, I wasn't even there. My phone says my GPS was on the other side of town.
Yeah, that's what you're
right.
going to have to do, and
Jeez.
lock down and have extra security because security cameras are important for a lot of stuff. But
Tech versus tech.
Yeah, that's how crazy the tech is gotten. I mean, it's not just to make me look like a medieval warrior.
Yeah, I mean, we have fun with all this stuff right now, but yeah, I think what so often happens is our regulations, our cultural understanding, society, we're always behind the technology developments. So then by the time we kind of get our pants on and understand what's going on with the technology, really bad things have already happened with it. So we need to start really thinking ahead of time on a lot of these things, especially with things like Neuralink coming into fruition here, where
what's that?
Where Elon Musk's technology, where they put a chip in your brain to help with various things.
My wife actually knows somebody who has Parkinson's disease.
Yes.
And there's a chip or something that was put into his brain that he can control with an app to where if the shaking symptom starts, he can actually dial something up or down to stop it and literally control it digitally.
It's that kind of technology.
And that's the good part of it. The fear is that they're going to be able to download stuff too that isn't what you're looking for,
or control you, or or read things off of your intent, or I don't know, any number of things that can happen when you start interface technology that way. But that's the thing. The Pandora's box is open now. We need to figure out what the heck's going on.
Yeah, you're looking at 6 or 7 steps away from Minority Report.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh yeah.
I mean, man. All right, Vic Porcelli coming your way 9:04 right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Columbo here for Eggers Heating and Air Conditioning. Christine and I trust our home with Eggers because at Eggers, customer satisfaction is the #1 priority. And as you know, St. Louis winters are too cold and unpredictable to not be prepared for. So if your furnace isn't keeping your family warm and comfortable, don't wait and risk the problem getting worse. Whether it's time for repairs or replacement, Eggers has you covered with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Eggers now at 636-242-6515 or at callaggers.com.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee